This One Up podcast is presented by Heavenly Sword. Vengeance has never been so beautiful. Only on PlayStation 3.
All right, wherever you are, this is when the weekend starts. It doesn't matter the time zone. This is the One Up Years podcast for Friday, September the 21st, coming to you from Tokyo Game Show 2007 with a all-star cast. They've got myself, this is Garnet Lee, and Mark McDonald here, and Shane. But we have two
very
guests.
special
Truly
guests.
special guests.
Very special guests.
Indeed.
Well, introduce
so
yourselves,
special?
gentlemen. Who gets the first introduction?
John does.
Sure. I'm John Riccardi. I am One Up's old friend and guy in Japan, and
Very good friend. Friend with benefits.
Friend with benefits.
OneUp.com.
Well, you
Friend with benefits.
did stay in John's apartment for a week.
Okay, now that's
It's not a very big apartment.
Unfortunately, responsible for hiring Shane into the game industry many moons ago.
Oh, also
I
true.
remember my Friday job interview in IRC. If you
That's
recall.
right. Man, back in the day, we rolled it old school.
You interviewed it on RSC?
Oh yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
That is awesome. Well, who's our other special guest?
Ryan Payton, this is associate producer, or assistant producer, not there yet, assistant producer on Metal Gear Solid 4.
But he will be after this episode.
Maybe.
Well,
Or as either I'm going to be associate producer, I'm going to get that promotion, or I'm going to be fired, or I'm going to be janitor at Kojima Productions.
Well, I should also, I think give you props to your amazing podcast, the Hidechan Radio.
oh,
yeah.
Hey, thanks. It's not easy doing that every week, as you guys know. But, as you guys know, you probably get killed if you don't update every week because, a lot of people, anticipate the show.
Absolutely. What are you doing on that between now and when the game actually comes out? You're done voice acting, so you're not going to have interviews with any other.
Yeah, as most people have picked up, who listen to the show every week, that I've been using the sound studio to bring on guests like David Hayter, who's voicing Snake, and Colonel, like Quentin Flynn, who does Raiden, and all these guys. So it's a great excuse to have, to be able to knock those out every week is because it's so convenient to have somebody to talk to.
Right.
Moving forward, it's going to be a little bit tougher because as we get closer to release, there's so much we want to talk about, but everything's a spoiler.
When do you interview the 4 Beauty and the Beast models that we've seen this
Do
week?
you want to
When does
hear
that
the
happen?
audio version, and don't you want to see them like
Maybe do a podcast. Yeah, that'll be great.
Maybe that's your first 4 video podcast.
Well,
I think Mark's volunteering to host it.
According to that pamphlet, you were involved in the photo shoot. You were there choosing them, dressing them.
Yeah, I was the producer on the Beauty and the Beast core, 3D modeling and that whole setup. So finding the studios, finding the models. Of course, it goes through Mr. Kojima's check, art director Yoji Shinkawa's check. But I went through different modeling agencies, hooked up, got up the photographer. It was a huge production.
Was it intentional that there's one, there's a white girl, there's a black girl, there's an Asian girl, there's a European girl, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's something you encounter when you're in a Japanese environment. This is the way they think, and then it's not racist. It's just, we need a black person here, and then we need the white guy, and then totally different subject. But I have a friend that's in the fashion industry, and they were asking me if I knew anybody who looked French. Because their next theme is French.
Put a beret on somebody look pretty French.
Yeah,
exactly.
Striped shirt.
And you're wearing a beret.
Exactly. So I was well, how about me? But so the bosses in MGS4, they're all super hot. They're all super cool, and they're really excited about doing the game. But we're done with the capturing, so I don't think I could probably get them on the podcast.
So wait, not to go
like
too far into this, but what exactly is the point of having these 4 super hot models?
Mark. Okay, obviously you're not a big MGS4 fan because I can answer this question. The
All
whole
right, go for
concept
it.
of Beauty and the Beast is the horrible symbolism of what war does to somebody, how it transforms a beautiful thing into something horrific.
Okay, but why?
It's like you rehearsed that.
The models are obviously like hot women. You don't need to hire actual models to get hot women 3D models. Are they going to be?
If you had a chance to hire hot women as part of your job, are you telling me you wouldn't?
If you had the budget for that, are you just going to go hire your sister and her friends? No, you're going to go out. Not to say that your sister isn't hot, but
Are they doing promotions? Is that what it is?
No, let me answer Mark's question honestly. This is something that we wanted to do from a long time ago. And now with PlayStation 3 with next gen, we can do this where we could take photos of these women and get pretty close to real life 3D representations of them, which you haven't seen yet. You've only seen the outside, the beast part.
so we are going to see
Those
the real
Transformers open up and there are hot chicks.
Yeah, they're beasts, and inside that's the beauty. That's the whole thing.
Spoilers.
Well, and the Japanese girl, she actually did the motion capture and the voice work for the Japanese version.
Yeah,
as well.
Yumi Kukichi, she's been a friend of the studio for many, many years, and she's the co-host on Hide-chan Radio. So,
all right, Ryan Payne. Enough plugging of your stuff. God damn it!
And then
Jesus
we have Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops Plus coming to you later this year on PSP.
Don't forget about the Metal Gear,
the mic away.
Metal Gear Solid 2 Bond des Alliés.
By the way, we also have an online store with all sorts of T-shirts and
Well,
whatever else available.
While we're talking promotions, why don't we talk about Metal Gear Solid 4? Like, are there any cool pre-order kind of items or things like that in the works? Like, what are you guys thinking? They've been kind of stepping up. Konami has recently with
Konami's going through like a big restructure, and it's been painful for the past 3 months. Not having a PR director, for example, which is what I'm doing at TGS, is setting up interviews. It's been a pain in the ass. And I miss you, Mark Franklin, if you're listening.
We were really happy that you were here, because otherwise, we probably wouldn't have had all the access we had. So
yeah, I mean, I invited like the Ziff guys in to play the MGS4 demo for a full hour, and then they came back, or actually for an hour and a half. And an hour was just enough time to get through the game once on that TGS demo. I mean, there's so much packed into it.
Then how come you gave people 15 minutes on the show floor?
That's a damn good question, because we're going to have tomorrow at Business Day. It's going to be insane. There's going to be about 90,000 people expected to show up.
Well, tomorrow's not business. Tomorrow's
public
day.
public
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
There's going to be 90,000 people showing up. We have 48 PlayStation 3s ready, to meet the demand, but it's going to be a huge.
That's about like 2,500 too few PlayStation.
Oh, I was going to say, do the math. He's already on it. Already on it.
And so, people have told me, I mean, maybe they're just trying to kiss my ass, but they said that was the game of the show for them. That we really took over. And as far as space is concerned, we did. I mean, 48 PlayStations on the show floor is pretty impressive. When White Knight, which looked good to me, that had four.
Hey, that's let's do the math. That's
PS3s.
like what, 5% of the entire PS3 audience or something like that. No, I didn't. Yeah, I did. But
You did, yeah. All right, so here's what we're doing on the show today. Since we've already launched into Metal Gear, which I'm sure we'll be back.
It's kind of unavoidable.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be talking about that quite a bit more also, right? I mean, how can you avoid Metal Gear when it's basically stolen everything at TGS, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are we going to debate that much?
It's my game of the show.
Anybody else? Mark?
what am I going to debate?
Are you going to debate? Are we going to have a big argument about the game of the show, or is it
No,
just going to be
we're
Metal
not.
Gear?
And I know it's boring and predictable, and I've actually already heard this from people. People are the small talk topic du jour is, so what's your game of the show?
Right.
Yeah. Obviously, it's Metal Gear Solid 4. People don't want it to be something that it was.
I did run into several of our friends here, the Tokyo, expatriate kind of people who are like, "Oh no, Space Invaders DS is way better than Metal Gear Solid 4."
Well, no, we will talk about Space Invaders. What's the Space Invaders Extreme?
Extreme, yeah.
We will talk about that, but yeah, it is the. I'm sorry, it's the boring, predictable answer, but it is well deserved.
But I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that boring though. I mean, I agree. Metal Gear Solid 4 is definitely the game of the show. And in years past, even when it was just a trailer, there were some outlets would want to say Metal Gear was the game of the show. But this time, having played it and everything, I've said this a million times in the last 2 days. But I was, I had a marginal level of excitement for Metal Gear up to now, like the previous trailers, the previous showings, everything. I of course I knew I was going to want it, but after seeing the trailer yesterday and then playing the game today, now it's it's my interest has jumped dramatically.
All right, so the purpose of bringing that up is that talking about Tokyo Game Show game of the show is gonna be boring as shit. So we're just headed it off. That's it. That's the entire conversation about game of the show. There's no reason to fuck with that shit anymore. We're gonna move on and just talk about games. That's the whole rest of the show is gonna be talking about games. Definitely some more Metal Gear Solid, and we saw all sorts of other games. White Knight's gonna be in there. I'm sure Devil May Cry is gonna be in there. Gran Turismo is gonna be in there.
No More Heroes.
Sheeran.
Yeah.
Really? Sheeran the Wanderer for Wii? You're into that?
Sheeran
Dude,
the Wanderer
I fully
3.
played Sheeran the Wanderer.
You a big fan of that?
Which
franchise? The Wii one.
The only the Wii version is here, which is not even going to go to America. But the
DS one's coming to America. I
The
heard,
DS
so you
version
never
is
know.
coming to America, so we'll get to all that. So
Booth Babes.
Metal Gear Online.
Metal Gear Online.
That's true. Booth Babes. Yeah, there were.
Yeah, there were some good ones. We'll talk about those.
All right, so do we want to go back to Metal Gear, or we want to move on to some new stuff?
Why don't we start with just what everyone played at the show? We'll save the
that's
two
gonna
Metal
take
Gear
forever.
games for its own long discussion and hit on everything else. Shane.
So Shane, what did you start off the week playing? Because
the first thing I played was Metal Gear Solid 4.
Why don't we come back to Metal Gear and come back to White Knight? There are certain games that all of us have probably played, right?
And this week also included all of the visits that we did at the studios ahead of time, so we have to kind of wrap all that in there as well.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I know, there's tons and
lot
tons
to
of
talk
stuff.
about.
So where did you start off this week? What was the first appointment you took?
Yeah, maybe you should talk about that. What's the second appointment that you took?
The second appointment I took was the Konami press conference, which you can read Mark and I's hilarious live blog on his One Up blog.
I had to say, like, it was so last minute, and it kind of
almost
came
didn't
together.
happen.
It didn't happen, and I was annoyed that at first when it did happen, and then by the end of it, I was like, thank God we had that live blog to do, because I would have shot myself.
Yeah, you're an employee here.
Were you there?
I want Patrick Klepek, who is listening right now, to understand that at least if nothing else, that was the reason to have it. Patrick hops on AIM as soon as he sees us live blogging. He's like, "Would you fucking tell people that if you're going to do a live blog, they have to tell me ahead of time?"
Yeah, well, so Sam Kennedy is also hopefully listening to that, but he.
So Ryan Baton, what do you think is more important?
Dude, he totally slipped into Entertainment Tonight mode.
Self-management or beauty navigation?
Yeah, where does Metal Gear Solid 4 fall between self-management and beauty navigation?
What are you guys referring to as this live blog, and what happened?
No, we're referring to your company's press conference on, what was it, Wednesday?
Doko Demo Pilates. Or Make Me Beautiful Skin 3.
Seriously,
you don't want that?
I'm not a representative of Konami as a whole. I'm in Kojima Productions. We're kind of a semi independent studio from Konami, but they are going in a new direction. They look at the success of Wii and they look at the success of DS.
So
that's why you have yoga games.
You're blaming Wii Fit.
So basically, the game industry is doomed.
I'm blaming casual gamers. No. This is the new direction for Konami, and it's hard to deny the strength of the DS. I mean, we have a game that's coming out next month, or we, as I say, is in Konami, that was directed by a girl that used to be in Kojima Productions.
Oh, Junko Koano?
I'm talking about the Bihada game with the skincare game.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, this is a big title for Konami, and this is the new direction. I don't know.
So Shane, what was your third appointment this week?
What you guys want to talk about? This is serious. I mean, Konami's known for like Castlevania. We got Konami. We have Metal Gear, Silent Hill. These are big IPs. And then you go to the Konami booth, and I'm not saying whether this is good, and I'm leaving that up to you guys, but. I mean, is this troubling for you guys when you go to the show? We have a whole section for a Bihada, the skincare game, and then we have yoga mats and people.
Well, I mean, it's just indicative of the market and the DS and Wii market, and those are very real, and it's unavoidable when you go to the stores here. There's a full stack of games, a full shelf of games that are like non-games.
I think the market.
Tokyo Game Show, by the way.
Yeah, it is Tokyo, and I think the market is going to be, the Japanese and American markets have been sort of, splitting apart over the past couple of years, and I think that divide is going to get even bigger now because in Japan, these kind of things, there are many girls out there who will be excited by this thing. I mean, this does make sense in the market here. It makes no sense in America.
Yeah. No, and
it makes no sense to hardcore gamers either.
Right, and exactly.
Right, and it's not that we don't know that or understand that or even care about that, but it's a matter of the same thing with Nintendo. Is it taking resources away from what would otherwise be going towards stuff that we
of course. That's the main concern. Yeah.
Reading that live blog, they also had a ton of mobile stuff.
Well,
right?
Mobile is huge. Like, walking around TGS show floor, there's tons of mobile games, but a lot of franchises you know and love, and some of these games look insanely good because the phones here in Japan are really powerful. You didn't see the new trailer for Final Fantasy Agito 13. It looks better than a PS2 game. It looks even better than the last time I saw it.
Better than a PS2 game?
Yeah, it looks better than a PS2 game.
That's a big statement there. You sure you're going to back that up?
I was sitting next to another fellow editor from another outlet, and he completely agreed with me. He was like, he thought it was for Xbox 360 or something.
Or on a phone from the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they showed the Kingdom Hearts mobile game, and then they showed the Kingdom Hearts DS game. And the Kingdom Hearts mobile game looks like twice as good graphically. It's ridiculous.
Well,
so where's Brian? The problem may be moving here for a month or two just to play
to play these games.
So talk about the rest of the Square stuff. Let's go into the show floor stuff because you're the only one that I think really saw that super secret exclusive Square theater.
It's the Square Enix closed mega theater. They always have it, and I was really excited to go there. And I missed my appointment yesterday, and it was so exclusive. You had to get a ticket and show up at the right time and. Yeah, you missed your ticket. Did
you have to wait in line?
There was a VIP line.
Oh, sorry.
He wasn't in it, but there was one.
Right.
But so I was really excited because the last 3 times I've been out here, the Final Fantasy 13 and Versus 13 trailers have been the same trailer they've been showing since last E3 with between 5 and 10 new seconds of content. And this time there was a full 30 seconds of new 13 content. And
30 seconds?
Wait, 13?
Oh my God.
Of 13.
Unbelievable.
And then
That's how you promote a game.
Over-delivered. Square over-delivered.
And then over a minute, maybe even a minute and a half of new Versus 13.
So tell us about the 13 footage, because that's obviously more interesting.
So 13, which is going to come out first, it's like the real Final Fantasy 13 by the team that made 10, and I'm really incredibly excited for.
What do you think, next fall?
I think it'll be out in Japan by next fall.
In Japan?
In Japan? Yeah, in Nepal. In Nepal, it'll be out by next fall.
And I think I speak for the average man, like listening to the podcast. Now, Shane, I heard that the Final Fantasy 13 demo is coming by Christmas. Just want to see how that's coming along.
I did.
Keep doing that. Keep doing what you're doing.
This is why he brought the notepad.
I got some of that
you
too.
got a notepad.
Hey, that's not on the note. That's coming from
the new EGM, which is hitting stores. Who knows? Might be in your hands by now. I don't even know because I'm in Japan. But
You're from the future. You don't know.
Quarterman reports in the new issue of Electronic Gaming Monthly that finally, at long last, Final Fantasy 13 is up and running on PlayStation 3 hardware. Like, you can play it on a PlayStation 3. Not here, mind you.
Breaking news. How exciting.
What's interesting about this?
Because, like, it exists. It can be played.
Is that fucking
graphics.
You pretty much can say that about every game ever.
It's actually very troubling, in a way.
I know.
That actually is right.
It's like,
oh my God.
Okay, so you have the base of it. Now you got to make the real game. You got it working. Now you got to put all these different layers.
Trust me.
Okay, 2009 confirmed.
This is encouraging news.
all right, let's move on.
Then it's like,
So what?
we're building a house.
We
bought the
haven't
property.
even actually heard what was new yet.
So in the trailer, they revealed a new character, and she looks kind of like Riku, but not as like crazy. She has pigtails.
This is a schoolgirl.
No, she looks more like a tribal kind of
belts, boots,
zippers.
scarves.
Yeah, it's got to have the zippers.
No, Nomura, he's really toned down the designs for both these games. He really has.
Did you say he was wearing like a giant chain on his pants yesterday or something?
Well, he's always wearing a. Yeah, well, so he was standing in front of the booth, and he was in really good spirits, and which is rare. He's very serious.
Because you were there.
No, I wasn't even talking to him, and a friend of mine was like, "Oh, he's not wearing a chain." I'm like, "No, look more closely." And he had a giant chain that had chains coming off of it, and he was wearing elf shoes, which I thought was kind of cool.
No, look closer, my friend. Look closer.
So this girl, she was kind of like tribal, and she was in like a giant like Veld desert kind of
A giant what?
like a Veld VELDT. Yeah. It was like a
You
giant.
played Final Fantasy
It's a
6,
word.
didn't you?
It's a word.
I know. It's
like
very,
a giant-
I was just making sure you
A
did.
giant like plateau
I got
with a
you.
river, with this huge river, and dinosaurs like swimming through the river.
Okay.
It looked really cool.
All right.
So that was the first trailer they showed. So it set the tone, like, wow, they're actually going to show us some stuff here,
Yeah, that was actually like 30 seconds. Oh my god!
If only Mark's indifference could be captured in audio form.
What's even crazier is
I think it just was.
none of the 13 trailers they've ever shown have ever been available to the general public, ever. Like, you can't watch them anywhere. They've never been given to anybody. Like, and it's almost, the PR plan is like, these things are out there, but you can't see them.
That's what it depresses me about it. Like that, and okay, a new character is news, but a new character that you can't even fucking see is
Right,
news.
right.
Like,
So, okay.
Some X-Files shit right
Square.
there,
I'm
right?
not going to remember the exact order. And, like, there's a lot of cell phone games in here, including a really amazing new trailer for Parasite Eve 3, The Third Birthday, which was a really cool CG trailer. And it showed the entire staff, and it's all, like, the best Square Enix people working on it. Like, seriously, like...
Isn't that a cell phone game?
It's a cell phone game.
that's sad because it's. I mean, are we ever going to play that in America?
No, never.
Okay, skip next.
That said, wasn't there a former? I could be getting this wrong. Wasn't there a Front Mission cell phone game that is now coming to DS?
I think that's true, actually.
So
2089 or something.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean,
So there's hope.
There may be hope.
There
at
is
least.
hope. So the other big announcement with the new Kingdom Hearts properties, and they started with the mobile one, and that one's called Kingdom Hearts Coded. And it looked kind of crazy. Like you were like bringing up these hacking things, and like you're like hacking a game and like putting in digits. And I really couldn't understand it, but it had really good graphics for a cell phone game. We're never going to see it. And then they showed the DS one, which has the amazing title, which is Kingdom Hearts.
Oh my God.
Kingdom Hearts 379 over 2 days.
I think you got the numbers wrong, but you got the idea right.
Yeah, and like apparently if you do that improper fraction and like divide it out, the number, I think it's 178 or 179, that number has...
You know what?
I just want to say, because I'm not on this show every week, this is my one chance. That is the most retarded name I have ever heard for a game.
Well, but apparently that number, if you do the math on the improper fraction, that number has like a cosmic significance to Nomura.
If you do the math on the...
How do you pronounce it?
It's 370. It's like 379 over 2 days.
This is failing.
Who is naming shit at Square Enix? Like Infinite Undiscovery. Who is naming?
Who is not stopping them
We'll
from
get to that
naming
one.
this stuff?
Okay, but like,
And like all the
one
Latin
of
stuff
yours,
for
Titanic.
Final Fantasy 13. Like what's the theme? It's this Latin. It's like the Nova Crystallis.
Fabula Nova
It's Latin,
Crystallis.
isn't it, I think, or-
Yeah,
I mean,
that's Latin. If you have an idea how important and popular Kingdom Hearts is, you're like, oh, stop talking about it. It's more popular than Final Fantasy these days, all right? So anyway, the DS game, which nobody can see, so the people want to hear this, Garnet, shut the fuck up. Whoa. Damn it. Wow. So Kingdom Hearts for DS, it takes place between 2 and 3, and you play as like the member.
2 and 3.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Wait.
After 2.
Right.
Before the
Before
next
3.
real one. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So it's between 2 and 3.
Or no, I was, but like,
Well, 3 hasn't actually
3.
been
If
announced.
you do the
so
improper fraction.
Well, and
Continue.
because the problem was when they first started showing
It doesn't work out if you do.
So when they first started showing this trailer, they were showing cutscenes, and the cutscenes looked about like PS2 quality, and like it wasn't sure like maybe this is in game. It looks amazing, but no, that's like FMV of like PS2 quality graphics. And when they show the actual game, it's like, oh,
So same characters. What?
no, you play as Roxas, but he's grown up. He's the alternate reality version of Sora based on a part of his soul. It's all very confusing.
You don't have to be embarrassed, Shane. You don't have to be embarrassed when you talk about this stuff.
You play as
Say it
him,
with pride.
but it's an action game like Kingdom Hearts. It looks like Kingdom Hearts with bad graphics and a 10 frames per second frame rate. But
Why is it bad graphics?
It's on DS and it's full 3D.
Yeah, but it's a Square game.
I mean,
like-
there's nice looking, decent
Well,
looking
I
3D
think the
games
reason
on
there's
DS.
bad graphics is it's 4-player Wi-Fi. So that's the problem.
Well, I guess if we're talking about bad graphics, you didn't play Final Fantasy IV, did you?
No, I watched somebody play it.
And what did you think of that?
Looked better than 3.
Better than 3, but did you think it looked good? Like,
Does it look bad? I really wanted to get to that today. I couldn't
The
get to
SD
it.
style is a little weird. Like, I'm not sure if I like the way the characters look. But,
yeah, it just, I mean,
but it's
I
a
don't-
great. I love FF4, and it's
Right.
a really good game.
Oh,
Me too.
Rock solid, of course, but like they're remaking it, so you know that the undertones. The only thing they're really remaking, right, is mostly the.
Well,
the,
no, they're
the
changing the
graphics.
gameplay too. I heard that one of the things is all the characters can now learn the other characters' abilities, which I think might break the balance a little bit. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
Having
the
played it
version-
so many times in the past, that just sounds weird. Like I can't imagine one of these characters that you know, like in a very specific way, being able to like do other stuff.
Right.
I don't know.
The version they were showing here was kind of busted looking, though. And it might not be final.
It's
It was
it's almost done.
Oh, really?
It comes out in December. I mean, it's
Does it come out in December?
yeah, December
Because
15th.
like the frame rate and different things of it, it just kind of looked a little.
Right. Well, DS not made for 3D. You know.
All right, so
Okay,
what
but then
else in
so
that
then they showed
theater?
the PSP Kingdom Hearts, which looks really really cool. It's
Yeah.
a prequel. It's like it's very different. It's very serious, and it's made by the Crisis Core team and uses the Crisis Core engine, so it has really good graphics.
Crisis Core looks.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I think the PSP one looks. It's called what the title? It's like something of sleep. It has a silly title too, but it looks really good. So like that one came out looked really great. So then the big reveal at the end was the new Versus 13 trailer, and that's the one that Nomura is directing himself. Final Fantasy Versus 13, and it's an action game. It's like. Yes, I heard it's more of like action RPG, very heavy focus on action.
Wasn't that from the Kingdom Hearts team or something?
It is, and up until now, they've been showing this one trailer. You've probably seen it with like this guy sitting in a throne, and he is like super badass. He kills all these
Right.
other guys with guns, and then his like nemesis shows up and they fight, and it's all really cool. But this time, they cut away. They show this new female character who's wearing like the least crazy clothes ever. She's wearing like regular clothes. She looks normal. I'm like, wow, everybody's like, she looks like a regular person, and she ends up fighting that guy, and that's cool. And then they shows this other guy who looks like Owen Wilson, and he's like a fugitive from the law, and you're like protecting him. And they drive out into the desert in like this post-apocalyptic wasteland where the road ends because like the ocean has like overtaken the road. And then they show these mafia guys sitting around this table. There's like Yakuza mafia
Yeah,
guys
exactly.
who are controlling everything. No, but like
So it's all CG.
Ryan is looking at me like, what the fuck is this?
oh yeah, like
crap?
we'll get to your monkey in a diaper in a minute, okay?
Scientist without a bra. There we go.
when you
That's the secret to next gen.
See some side boob from Naomi. I saw that. It's true. But like the trailer's like I wish you guys would see this trailer because like it is the best.
That's the tragedy of it. And that's the way that Square Enix rolls. It's like they've been doing this for years. Is that they show the press the trailer and they don't show it to the public. So 6 months later, some dude who's handicapped it eventually leaks eventually. And that's
Right.
Is that what they really want? It just seems like the memo doesn't get up to the top of Square Enix. That this is what ends up
Okay,
happening.
well, people in charge at Square Enix are naming things Kingdom Hearts fucking 378 divided by 2.5. So obviously, like people in charge are.
And are they showing that in the booth, like that 360 degree
Yeah, the public can see these trailers. You have to wait in line for like 4 hours, but you can't tape them, and they're not available. And like if this trailer,
you can't tape them. I'm sure no one has taped them.
Oh no, they're 10 people in there watching you. If you take your cell phone out, they take it away from you. You know, but like this trailer is so well made. So the CG is amazing, and like it's very adult and serious, and it's like set in reality.
Does it look like a Square game though? Do the characters look like Nomura characters?
You know, they do, but they're like less stylized, more realistic, and the whole thing is very dark and serious. And like they're driving luxury cars through like skyscraper cities, and I think if someone saw this, they would think it was a really cool looking game for adults, not like a kiddie game at all. Like
that's encouraging.
It's very encouraging. And the sad thing is, if this trailer was on PSN right now, if you could download this trailer, the world would be like erupting in excitement about how cool this game looks. So that's all this.
Why do you think they don't? Why are they not showing it?
I think possibly they just like being like secret and cool and like.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely. They're trying to add to the mystique. Obviously, I mean this is all about creating the mystique of the Final Fantasy properties. It's just something like we said, Square's done it all along, and it's worked for them all along.
But they're becoming like Square's becoming so weird and eccentric, though. It's like Howard Hughes. They're like shut off in their own thing, their own little world. Yep. They name the shit where they want to name it. They show these trailers only to like a select few group of weird people. I can't even keep all of this shit straight. Like, I mean, you don't even know the names.
You
don't know the name of the different Kingdom Hearts games. Like Shane Bettenhausen, guy who fucking lives and breathes this shit, does not know the name of all the different crap they're putting out. Like they're a lot. It's
a lot to take in. But the other funny thing before I end Square Enix talk is in the end, in the old days when you saw these 13 trailers, it would say for PlayStation 3, and now after 13 and verse 13, it said for PlayStation 3 only in all caps.
Wow,
which I thought was really funny.
Interesting.
Someone else should talk for a while of how you.
Hey, well, before you go on, one of the so there's no Kingdom Hearts, I don't know, 3 or whatever, nothing.
No, everything was for mobile and portables.
So when you say it takes place between Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3, you're saying
theoretical.
Well, like in the trailer, it was like time has passed, and like it showed a recap of like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. So the idea is like this is after let you know that, and the other one is a prequel way before Kingdom Hearts 1. Yeah, the PSP game.
Okay.
Mark, give us something interesting to talk about.
Why don't we talk about White Knight story / Chronicle, depending on who you ask to talk
White
about
Knight, White Knight Monogatari here. Knight,
it's a second game. I think most people are talking about.
But I think people are talking about it in a kind of vague disappointment.
Yeah, that's true.
Come on.
Do you think so? I don't think that's been the reaction on the net.
I heard from 2 different people that the demo was limited and had some collision problems.
Shane is right. Anything that you said about Lost Odyssey last year, you have to say about White Knight story this year.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
Why do I? It's
because
bullshit.
Okay,
ridiculous.
Okay, let's see. Battle circle.
Isn't there some sort of combo system, but it doesn't really work? Right?
Yeah, sorry, Mark. I got to disagree with you because that Lost Odyssey demo last year was
absurd.
All you have to do is close your eyes and hit the select button.
What do you do in the White Knight story?
But that's the thing. You have an option to like actually link combos together, and that's like I don't know if
you make
the demo
your own combo, and what do you do when you make?
But
your
in
own
Lost
combo?
Odyssey, you didn't even have that option. That's the problem.
In Lost Odyssey, all you did for the last 2/3 of that demo last year was walk through a city.
Oh my God, you guys are so wrong. I can't even believe it.
You're wrong.
You have nothing. There's no magic, no defend,
there's no magic.
Nothing. All you can do is circle, and then when you actually get to you become the like super avatar big thing.
You become.
Here's
the White
what you
Knight.
do.
It's called White Knight story.
Exactly. You know what? Become the White Knight. Here's what you can do. Circle. Oh, wait till my time. Circle.
Here's the thing. That's
circle.
That's the same with every single RPG. You could go through most games and just level up and hit the attack button.
No.
To be fair,
most guys go through.
Your guys' defense.
Hold on. No, but you can link together combos, and like I'm sure they didn't give you a good explanation because you can go into the menus and you can pull from literally.
I did that, but it doesn't matter because the demo that was shown here, your guys I think misplaced defense of this title is completely off because what was shown here, just like with Lost Odyssey, is a completely stripped down, bare bones version of a game that looks good, but it was way too early. Super simple gameplay. All you're doing is hitting circle the entire time.
That's what I think you're right.
You can make your own combo, but it doesn't matter. It has you doing these.
But going
motions.
As far as it's like the Lost Odyssey of this year is going too far.
It's exactly the same. You hit one button. How many buttons do you hit that entire demo?
Having not played Lost Odyssey this year, none of us have, right? I mean, it's hard to say what has happened since then. But I think what Mark is saying is making me feel that maybe we were a little harsh on Lost Odyssey last year. And if I have, let me say, if I have to think why, it's because I think okay, he's right about White Knight. Right now, it is just push the button, and I think that's not the way the game is going. No, it's not.
It's not going to be that.
It's not.
It is
no. It's
magic.
You can tell that they have actually a detailed system on the way, but for the demo, they just wanted to let people see the game, feel what it's like. You could literally not look at it and just tap the button.
I think you're going to be surprised. I think that the final combat system.
I'm not going to be surprised because
we're talking about the demo that's here.
I'm saying that the demo today is very, very simple, and the final game is obviously going to be much more. And I think the ideas that they have are.
Did you play Rogue Galaxy?
Yeah, I played Rogue Galaxy. No. Well, that's partly why I say that is because having played Rogue Galaxy, having played all of their games, Dark Cloud, then Dark Chronicle, then Rogue Galaxy, it's obvious these guys know how to make a very responsive, intuitive battle system, and it's coming, is what I think. But what was there today was not it.
They've been evolving their combat system towards a more simple set of buttons.
But not so simple that you just tap the button. It's
only circle now.
Intuitive.
It's not even you can see the motions on the move.
It's not simple. That the word you're not looking for is simple. It's intuitive, and I think they're going in that direction. But what was there today was not an example. Yeah, that said, having played all the previous games, coming to today and this point, I know that it's heading in that direction, and I feel like maybe me personally, I don't think I gave Lost Odyssey the benefit of the doubt last year because it was one of Mistwalker's first games, maybe because the last game that he had made before that was like Final Fantasy VIII or something. I don't know. I just felt like it's the same old thing, and wow, this is going to be crap. And now maybe I think after a year things may have been.
I'm saying the same thing I said about Lost Odyssey last year. It's a really good looking game. I think White Knight looks amazing. Like it just looks beautiful. I love they had a very limited. You can choose your own character of the little pre-made things. Yeah,
yep.
And that's cool. And they like made the Famitsu guy.
It's said in the Japanese that you'll be able to create your own character in the real game. This is just like pre-made.
But what was shown here, which is what we are talking about, is fucking. It is exactly what it was with Lost Odyssey last year, which is a completely stripped down.
Listen,
dude, you're hitting one button. You can only attack. You can't defend. You can't do magic.
Yeah, if you watch the trailer,
you're gonna disagree with me. But when I walked away from the Lost Planet demo last year, I thought Lost Odyssey demo last year, I thought. Look, obviously, Japanese RPGs have still not evolved, and this is a serious problem for this industry. But when I walked away from White Knight, I thought this has got potential, and I'm really happy to see that Level 5 is trying to do something different. Now, sure, you can go through the whole demo by hitting the circle button, but like I said, there is a combo system in there.
No,
Ryan, it's only the circle button.
Am I allowed to agree with both of you guys? I think the part that's not getting across here, though, is that actually there isn't a combo system in the game, but it actually didn't work.
Exactly, it's not set up.
You can throw a dude up in the air, and then you can slash him. It's like all this cool stuff that's very encouraging.
You can't do that. But it still
did work. What we're debating is whether or not the timing and the rest of it was there.
I think it's going to be much better in the final game. I think it's going to be
it is. Look.
The framework is there. There was no framework in Lost Odyssey. Lost Odyssey demo was such a piece together. It's one-off. Staged example of here's some ideas and here's some
exactly Lost Odyssey stuff. Both of them are stripped down versions of
what ideas did Lost Odyssey have last year, and I have a lot of faith in this game.
I'm gonna interject here, Mark, and like Lost Odyssey isn't here, which is really, really telling.
Well,
to me.
It is here. It's not playable.
It's only on video right now.
It's telling to me that like Microsoft doesn't want people playing it right now, and it comes out in.
I don't think it
comes out in 3 months or Mistwalker, but they did show a new trailer at their event, and we've seen what they added to the battles, and what they add to the battles is you press a button when you hit an enemy, and as Andrew Fitch said on this podcast last week, Beyond the Beyond had that, and we know that White Knight Chronicle has stuff beyond that. We know that.
All you're doing in White Knight is hitting button presses at times.
But we've seen in trailers that there are more things you can do.
But it's weird. Like I don't know if I'm agreeing with you or I'm talking to Mark now. I don't know if I'm agreeing with you or disagreeing. I think we agree for the most part, but like you do agree that like the trailer, what they showed last year in the trailer was much more in depth than what was actually there today, right?
Exactly.
And so do you feel that the final game is most likely going to be more like the trailer last year?
Of course. I'm talking, and that same thing with Lost Odyssey. You guys, I don't know if you're completely missing the point or not. What I'm saying is you got a demo last year of Lost Odyssey that for some reason people took as representative of the final game. Oh, I'm going to only be able to cast fire and ice and attack.
Right.
Oh, that's and so same people are talking about, but for some reason, White Knight this year, it's the same thing. It's a fucking totally stripped down version of the same thing. It's
by the way, I played it, so I'm going to talk about the goddamn game.
Okay, yeah.
Here's the difference.
You get the final word on this.
Here's the difference for me in White Knight. And by the way, everyone who saw me in the part that Cesar clipped that I'm like, why?
Yeah, you suck.
I'm like, why are you showing the part before I got the explanation?
Actually, there's
on how
all
it
the
worked?
clips of
but,
everything
so
that
that's
you
what Mark
played.
told me. All the clips are up there, so watch the other 2 clips because this gave me an idea of what they're going for because I was able to look at the framework of, oh, here's how we're going to be able to put combos together. And then once you broke it in, you're like, okay, each of these combos has an icon. Each icon tells me what happens. Once they get all of that implemented and you're able to get, you're going to obviously discover through various ways new sorts of combo attacks. And then you'll be able to put those together into different groups and you'll use different groups for different strategies. There's going to be all sorts of depth there. That's what I gained from that. Lost Odyssey never gave me any of that shit. So this gave me...
Wow.
Lost Odyssey never gave me...
But if you judge it purely on what you got,
I'm saying,
then it's the same
God damn it,
thing.
you're not my wife. You cannot interrupt me like this.
Whoa! Wow! All right, never seen his eyes bulge out like that. Wow!
What I'm saying is that in this demo, although it's not mechanically implemented to where it works, the framework is there, and you can get at least you can conceptualize. Oh, here's what they're going for.
Okay, now, this is like a great way for me to because I wish I was kind of here last week because I had a question from Garnet, and you don't really believe that Sakaguchi. These are the 2 games he wanted to make: is Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey. Do you really? We really don't think that Microsoft
Garnet was trying to claim that they weren't at Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy Clone. Like, no, these are really creative.
I was listening to that last week on the train. I was like, no, Garnet, just stop right there. And
wait, so you guys think Microsoft came to him and said, make
absolutely,
make Dragon Quest, make Final Fantasy. But there's no question.
Do you think so much of Sakaguchi that he's like, oh, I have this crazy weird idea over here that I want to do, but no,
and
I have to make
that might be
Fantasy.
Cryon or whatever. Like, was it Ash? Is the other title that they're working on? But seriously, for the 360, for them to win Japan, it was Microsoft approaching Sakaguchi at the time. We need these 2 killer titles, and we need them as original IPs.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, those games fit those 2 molds completely. But I don't know Sakaguchi
and Garnet's
enough to know if
he's kind of avoiding the topic. Maybe he agrees with me finally, or agrees with all you guys.
I'm just saying my knee's a little sore. I had to pop my knees.
Oh yeah, no worries. But you're being kind of quiet.
But I mean, I want to say
about what
about me addressing your comment from last week. I mean, all I got was the middle finger.
Anyway,
he's old. He's very old and confused.
Close the subject and move on. I want to finish by saying I think White Knight is going to be awesome, but I think the demo that was here probably shouldn't have been shown, especially like. Yeah. I mean, what was shown of it?
Why should not be shown?
Because graphically it looks great, but like the gameplay is like completely.
I think it was a missed opportunity.
Let's move on to the next thing.
A missed opportunity.
It's a bigger subject. So since we have Ryan here, let me drop into like a bigger subject for a second. Why do we have to sit here on something that's obviously still a ways away, and they're gracious enough to give us a chance to actually get in and play with it and check it out, and then go crazy over game mechanics on a game that's obviously like
why say anything bad about any game that's shown at any trade show ever? Because they'll fix it.
Well, I think our friend Dennis Dyack will have a lot to say about this subject.
Yeah, is he here?
I didn't see him, but I did see today.
Did you jump all the way to the other end of the expression?
I did see today. Julian Eggbrecht was here. Apparently, he's supporting Rise from Lair, which comes out here later this year. But
8 out of 10.
From who?
No, it works 8 out of 10 times.
But also in the Sony booth, did anybody here check out the new Little Big Planet demo?
Yes.
And what'd you think?
I played it. I was sad in the sense that it was the GDC level, and that was at E3 over again. But something cool about it is it was actually made with real objects. Like you can make the level now yourself, and so it was different in a lot of subtle ways. It actually looked better in a lot of ways, and like the design sense that these guys have is just so fucking brilliant. Like. You probably hopefully seen it by now on videos, but you have different levels that people make. You have a representation of the Earth, and they're like little buttons sort of all over the Earth, and you can put your level sort of in any location. Most people probably do it where they live. So in San Francisco, you can download different people's levels, and then you have a moon orbiting this planet, which represents kind of your hard drive. And then if you copy a level from the interweb onto your hard drive, it moves over onto your little moon. Just like every detail is so thoroughly thought out and worked through, like the level name and everything is all in 3D. It moves around with the planet. Like
I've been a big proponent of this game ever since it got announced, and I was really happy to see a lot of interest at their booth in the press. Like big lines there, like longer lines there than Gran Turismo, longer lines there than White Knight Chronicle. I mean, it seemed people were into it.
Today?
Yeah, today and yesterday.
I mean, could this be a Western game that actually breaks into Japan and like it isn't like a franchise or a licensed title? I mean,
I don't know. Could it? You probably are the best person to answer that question of this group right here.
I've got a bad feeling. That's all I'm saying. I mean, it looks awesome. And my soul's been crushed before. Like, Prince of Persia didn't sell great in the United States, but it sold. It was dismal in Japan, and they even tried to market it as a Japanese game. And like
they redid all the art and everything.
Yeah, exactly. They even had these weird ads, like these.
Sony published it here.
Yeah, exactly. They had these ads like with Japanese guys where they showed them as directors of the game, as producers, and they had the interviews with them, and they're actually playing off like they made the game. And even that didn't work. It's just something weird that the Japanese have like the sixth sense that this is coming from outside. And I mean, we can go. Never mind.
Yes.
We've been moving around the Sony booth. Let's keep doing it. Gran Turismo 5 Prologue was obviously a big thing here, and like some people were kind of down on it. They're like, "Oh, it looks jaggy," and
the track they're showing is probably the most like generic, boring track you can possibly.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't
like
one of the cool city tracks. It was just like it was a race track.
Yeah.
Well, because that's a very big deal, because this is the first time that they've actually ever included a high-speed ring in there. And so I went over to Polyphony today, obviously, which was like a great thing for me. And that was something that they brought up, which is this is the first time we've ever brought in high-speed racing with slipstreaming and tactical racing. I don't like that kind of racing. So, I'm sitting there listening to it like, oh, that's great. You put NASCAR in my Gran Turismo. Thank you. But they're excited about it.
Did the talk of Forza 2 ever come up? Because I remember last time you guys were talking on the show, like, has anybody on the team played it? And like, you were surprised that nobody on the team has been playing like the rival titles, and I was pretty surprised to hear that.
No, actually, so when I sat down to talk with Yamaguchi, it was very interesting. The person I was sitting there talking with him actually asked him that question again, and I'm like, didn't we just hear the answer to this question? and sure enough, we got the same answer, which is that as far as Gran Turismo goes, they approach Gran Turismo with the Gran Turismo philosophy. They're not really worried about what other people are doing, which I thought was big. I mean, that's the right way. That's the right way to do a game, is to be confident of what you're doing.
I can't agree.
I agree on the confidence part, but I you've said this before, I think, Mark, but I mean, I think it is irresponsible to, not even know what the competition is doing.
How is that irresponsible?
It is irresponsible, because if we didn't look at other games, Metal Gear Solid 4 would still be in the bird's eye view, top
just
down.
Just because Yamauchi isn't playing, it doesn't mean that other people on the team aren't.
That's true. That's very true.
I compare it to the guy who invented Ghostbusters. Was he watching the fake Ghostbusters cartoon and being like, oh, what are these guys doing?
Good point, but I think it's irresponsible. I mean,
I'm tired of seeing games that get completely diluted and sidetracked based off of focus testing and
you're right on that.
Feature creep,
but not focus testing,
right,
but
on that part. But
not to sneak into Metal Gear, but like one of the things that Metal Gear 4 is
by
doing.
All means.
That was very tricky how I did that. Not to sneak into Metal Gear,
but
not to have a sneaking mission.
That Metal Gear 4 is doing is like, hey, this is. The controls have been designed by people who have actually played other games similar to it,
and it's refreshing. And like, seriously, without that pressure, without, I think, guys like you asking them about Forza 2 or asking them about online 5 years ago, you would not get an online enabled GT.
You don't think so, really? Because they're very, very, very into their online. It's actually part of the presentation.
Same reason why I think that I bet that Virtua Fighter 5 was from the get go not online for Xbox 360, and it's after you guys kept asking these guys over and over and over again that they finally figured out how to do it.
Well, I can tell you this. In the presentation they gave us, where they were going through all of the front-end stuff that is all built into the online, like the Gran Turismo Prologue is all about the online now. I mean, that is the core of what they're really going for, a big core part of what they're doing.
That's huge.
Like the having your little mini map that's on your main homepage that shows whenever you're logged in, that shows any of your friends that are logged in, and it puts them as a little dot on the map, like the folding at home map. Have you seen that?
Yes.
That is so cool.
Well, I'm curious. Did you get to play GT5 with DualShock 3? Was it up and running or no?
They actually
had wheels.
They had steering wheels. Yes.
Yeah. Were you in like the full 360
enclosed? No, because all the enclosure stuff they have there is still set up with the
GT4.
With GT4.
Well, but they had on the show floor. They had the seats, the chairs.
Yeah, with all the wheels.
Do they have any DualShock 3s running GT?
Well, what's interesting is we actually asked him about the DualShock controller. It was really funny because he didn't hold back at all. I mean, I wish they had said this a few months ago. He looks at me, he says, I asked him about how excited they were to have that back, and he said that when they lost shock out of the controller, that it was devastating to the team and that they were completely discouraged because they'd always been proponents of having shock, that GT had always been one of the first games that used shock, and that not having it really took away from the game because that's how you get feedback to someone who's playing a driving game so they can drive the car.
Well, it's a little aside here. We talked a little bit about DualShock 3 in my preview of MGS, and on the One Up show that's coming out today, we talked about it a little bit. But I was really impressed once it finally started working. Because at first we were kind of humoring you because you thought it was working. We're like, I don't really feel it so much. But
I was like, you feel the vibration, Shane? He's like, not really.
It's so subtle as to be imperceptible because it really wasn't working. But then when it did start working, I was impressed. It was cool. Like,
yeah, little did I know that we had the premiere for DualShock 3 in a hotel room.
Actually, no. You had played Burnout
I did,
with DualShock 3
Oh,
the night
there we go.
before.
So I guess Garnet had the honor.
It was pretty fucking awesome too. I really liked that.
Yeah, I like it too.
Here at the show, you played Burnout with DualShock 3?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I gotta say, DualShock 3. I'm totally. You okay there, Garnet?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, yeah.
I definitely swallowed a little bit of lemon pulp.
I think you swallowed your pride.
I got the lemon pulp from this thing. What is this thing?
That's a chew high.
That Chuhai has some serious lemon pulp in it.
Yeah. So anyway, what we were saying is about the DualShock 3 is everybody here tried it or
I think so, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm really excited about it. Like, this has been like a huge missing part of the PS3 since the very beginning.
It just sucks that we have to wait so long.
Well, I'm gonna
have to wait so
import
long.
it because
we get it next month.
A bunch of games that are already out use it, and like
Exactly.
Ratchet's using it, Folklore.
What's going on that it's taking so long for it to be available
It's a
in America?
mystery.
Come on, all those PS3 owners in Japan need to buy the. Wait a minute.
But like, it does feel really cool. Like, what surprised me in Metal Gear was like I could tell where things were exploding around me based on where on my controller was shaking, and that was weird and cool.
That is cool. But let's give Sony the benefit of the doubt on this one. I mean, this was definitely like 11th hour decision to get this in time for TGS.
Yeah.
I mean, we just got the code a week ago and we implemented into the demo. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that it's coming out in November because I mean, this has just got finalized. I mean,
November in Japan.
right.
Yeah,
so
but
you're
next
planning
year.
spring.
Yeah, in America.
Earlier next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Well, that is a little bit disappointing, but
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the funny thing about the DualShock 3, and that it's some people have a hard time admitting, but I would show it to press. I'd let them play MGS4, and then 10 minutes into the demo, 15 minutes in the demo, 30 minutes in the demo, some guys would realize, hey, it's like you got vibrations back, and it's weird because like you miss it when it's not there.
But Shane, like, how fucked up is it that everyone has to re-buy controllers now just to get Rumble?
Well, didn't you have to re-buy PS1 controllers to get the dual analogs?
Well, yeah, and then
yeah, but dual analog came out after PS1 came out. Like
It's not like there's a mystery what happened. It was immersion. It was a lawsuit. I mean, it's all you can read about what happened.
But John Gamer at Walmart doesn't give a shit about the lawsuit. Like, it sucks now
that's
that they
true
have
for
to buy
Joe Gamer.
What's the solution? What could they do? I mean,
Yeah, this is obviously not a case of Sony trying to double dip. Let's give them like the benefit.
Oh no, I'm not saying that
early
at all.
adopters-
But come
early
on,
adopters,
you're gonna
get fucked.
crucify whoever it is that does this. You crucify people when they re-release hardware that's iterating on stuff.
I mean, this isn't
classic case
quite
of
the
that.
iPhone, price drop, but like I don't expect Sony to like give me $20 back, but they could give me a coupon off a game or something, but early adopters tend to get fucked. I bought a Saturn on day one.
That doesn't make it okay.
you're right. I mean, early adopters do get screwed. I mean, there's no.
But come on, like, you're talking about early adopters like this is some new feature that came out after Rumble is an accepted thing. Other people got it in their thing. Come on, you're not going to call Sony on this stuff.
so
Like,
Mark-
Ryan, you can't. I understand that.
But
Anybody else?
I don't see the answer though.
They could have settled the lawsuit beforehand and gotten Rumble out to the people. What?
Yeah, I mean, hindsight is 20/20.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda, Mark.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. Like Johnny Gamer out there, fucking Sony.
So if you're Sony right now, okay, look, they didn't make it in time for the PS3 launch. So what would you do? Would you throw out rebates? Would you give them away for free? Would you wait till PS4? I mean,
Small copy of Warhawk.
That's a good idea.
I don't know. Like, yeah, so there's lots of different good ideas, I think, there.
Maybe
Like,
there is still a chance they pack it in with
that's
something.
true.
Maybe DualShock 3 can come with like 2,000 points for the Sony store.
That would be cool. That'd be a great idea. Come with a game. Lots of different
Shane,
options.
you work there. Get it done.
What was that?
Rebate thing packed in with Metal Gear Solid 4.
Wow.
That was pretty awesome.
So, do you need to take a break, or we should just keep going on
No,
this
I think we
thing?
should take a break. I think we should take a break.
I need to take a pee.
Well, that's the great announcement. The whole world is glad to know that Shane needs to take a leak.
Yeah.
We'll let him do that. When we come back in just a minute, we'll have more from Tokyo. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This One Up podcast is presented by Heavenly Sword. Vengeance has never been so beautiful. Only on PlayStation 3.
All right, we're back, and Shane is now no longer needing to hit the head.
Well, we've been drinking a lot of these Chew Highs.
We made a Chew High run, by the way.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. It was like a math problem. We figured it out, though.
Well, it was a math problem because the machine that had the Chew Highs in it wouldn't take any paper money because it was out of change. So we had to use the machine next to it.
This is all so interesting, but
it's almost as interesting as Kingdom Hearts math problem too.
That's right. Actually, Kingdom Hearts math problem prepared us for Chew High.
Fucking
math
haters.
Now everybody knows what Japan is like.
where did we leave off?
We were still the Sony booth was huge. It was the biggest. It was the biggest booth.
It was the first booth that everyone was going to this show. For
right,
sure.
of course.
Yeah. Of course.
Well, it was so big, but the only big booth even close to that big was like KDDI's cell phone booth, right?
Yeah, it's hard to miss.
It is hard to miss. So also in that booth, we had things like Rise from Lair and Heavenly Sword, the Eye of Judgment, because we've already seen these games before.
Right.
And the whole back wall were third-party games. And, I didn't spend a whole lot of time back there. I didn't know if there were any buried gems back there, besides like Devil May Cry 4, which was also in the, Capcom's booth and Microsoft's booth.
And looking better.
And I think it looks really, really good.
Yeah.
A lot of people are down on this game, and I think it's like a sleeping giant, and I think it's going to surprise a lot of people.
I don't know if too many people were down on it, but I do think like the fact that it debuted last TGS was so early, and it looked pretty good even then.
The problem was same level here, but it looks a lot better now. But it's the same level, and we've played later levels at other events.
So at first I didn't even like. Why do I just skip it? And I think it is getting. There's a new trailer which actually shows a lot of stuff.
Oh, it shows like plot stuff.
There's
really impressive.
Crazy
shows Trish
stuff in that trailer. There's like levels with jungle and tropical looking stuff in it. There's levels with there's like two big bosses that are shown at least. There's the one that's busting up like the marketplace. And
it looks like it actually has a story that I might even care about. I mean, that's on my list of one of my biggest surprise at TGS was the Devil May Cry 4 trailer. I mean, really impressive. It looks like they're trying to take the series to the next level.
Yeah, it also looks like the game is almost done, which is encouraging because it's supposed to come out early next year. And when you see this and there's tons of clips from cutscenes throughout the game, a lot of characters from other Devil May Cry games showing up, I have a feeling it's done, it's polished, it's going to be good.
Yeah, and actually the difference is, like I said, when I thought it was the same demo, it's that fiery boss fight and then the
town level.
Yeah, the town level that we saw last year. It was kind of like, okay, I can skip it, but I started playing it just to play through it, and actually there's a lot of stuff that I noticed, a lot of texture work, a lot of a lot of new models, like stuff that actually made much of a difference. And it wasn't like it was a bad looking game in the first place. Like it already looked really good.
Right.
But yeah, now there's like a lot more going on, and the game plays is solid. Like those guys have really figured it out. The boss battle, there's so much to it. Like if you die in the boss battle, which you probably will once or twice because it's really hard, but you know that it's your fault. Like the gameplay is just super, super solid.
Yeah, and DMC 1, is a classic. DMC 2 was a misstep. It wasn't terrible, but it was, it was a disappointing sequel.
It was pretty bad.
We gave it like 7s and 6s.
Right.
And, it's still like worth playing to some extent. But then 3 was a great game that was hampered by really unfair difficulty in America.
Right.
They fixed that in the director's cut. But yeah, I'm really excited for DMC.
You know what probably the benefit for me is, because I have to say Devil May Cry 4 is one of the most fun games I have played at TGS, and I love it, and I'm like totally stoked for it. I did play it also on PS3 with the Rumble controller, and it's another one.
Oh, I didn't know it was hooked up with that.
Yeah, on the back wall it's hooked up with the Rumble controller. It's another game that points out why Rumble control is awesome.
Since we're here, Ryan Payton, how come only the Metal Gear 4s in the Sony booth had DualShock 3?
I don't know, maybe some kind of just logistics between Sony and Konami, like preparing all these different demo units. I don't know when the controllers were actually built, but not long ago. I know that.
So you couldn't get 48 of them?
Yeah, well, you have to have some Sony representatives probably there, like to keep watch. I mean, there's some logistics reasons behind it, I'm sure, but we do have all Rumble controllers over at the Metal Gear Online section.
That's true.
So
I don't know.
So there, take that.
So anything else in the Sony booth?
Come on, Devil May Cry. How can you leave Devil May Cry?
Dude, I brought it up. I brought up. I said I love it. I'm looking forward to it.
Right,
I said people are sleeping on it.
I think maybe the reason that I enjoyed it. So tell me if maybe this is the reason I enjoyed it so much. I did not play 2. Oh, I played a little bit of 2 and then didn't like it, and then I didn't even play 3. But I loved 1.
Go back and play the director's cut of 3. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
Everybody has good things to say about 3.
So in 2 and 3, did they have like one of the moves I was doing in this version I thought was really cool was like the big move in 1 was to do the uppercut sweep with your sword, and then once you had guys up in the air, juggle them with your pistols. So like this game, I was doing the opposite of that move, which was like a big overhand slam on an enemy, jumping into the air
on an anemone.
on an enemy,
See an enemy.
on a big overhand smash on an enemy, and then jumping and holding myself up in the air by juggling with the pistol shooting down.
There's definitely some new acrobatic combo shit in this one that was not in 3. I think it looks great, and I think they should hopefully do a playable demo before Christmas.
Is that
I hope. I'm not saying there are, but they should.
By Christmas, confirmed.
No, I hope they do. And they haven't
PSN,
said they will.
PSN confirmed.
Has that been in the series before?
It may have been because 3 and this one both have multiple like sword styles, like Trickster versus like Guardian. Like it may have been in one of those styles. I don't remember.
I don't know. I just really like it. I think there's like this big argument too between people who like the Ninja Gaiden kind of approach to this sort of game.
There's definitely. I mean, James Milkey was like at any given chance he will like totally just say he hates Devil May Cry 4 because it's no Ninja Gaiden 2.
Why do you have to choose between the two? They're
Yeah,
different.
I don't
They're
quite
so
understand that either. I would think people who liked one would fucking love the other.
Same reason you can't like Tekken and DOA apparently.
Oh, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to like those two. Sorry.
Can't like them both.
Oh.
I thought it was Tekken
Right.
and Virtua Fighter.
So what else in the Sony booth? There's a bunch of American games that people are dying to
Turok is there.
dying to try.
I saw Turok there.
Turok
Wow.
was good, right?
Someone come play my game. Even Call of Duty 4 and like Warhawk. Warhawk has all these people playing it, and then you look and you realize they're all wearing Sony shirts.
What did you guys think of? I have to say, like, I was a little disappointed that the Loco Roco thing is kind of not. I kind of don't feel like it's like a real game.
It's not a game.
It's
And,
not
like,
really a
I've-
game.
I've-
It's like a
I
screensaver.
first talked
kind of.
about it on the podcast like a month or two ago, and it's not a game, and it's almost more fun to let it just play itself because you watch the locos go through this like crazy contraption. It's very fun and cute and colorful, but
That's not something you want to put on in the box. Like, more fun to let it play itself.
Yeah, but if you could let it, for example, play in the background of the the cross media bar or whatever, like just let it go as like kind of almost really like a screensaver. You can't do that, right? I mean,
No.
if you could do that, that would be maybe.
What happened is
cool.
everyone thought it was such an obvious thing just to make Loco Roco with six-axis control. So I think the guy, because everyone expected to do that, like, I'm not going to do that, and made something totally different. But it's not a full-price product.
Well,
it's
I know.
already out here in Japan.
If you go back to the interviews with the director of that game, Kono-san, like back in the day when Loco Roco came out, he was always big on the AI, and I think this is kind of like his next step in like having the AI.
You know
control
how
the characters
annoying
and
the
do-
AI is in that game, though? Did you try to stack them at all to get up to something high? It takes literally about a minute. Like they sit there and they kind of miss
Yeah, but the
each
thing
other,
is,
and
they
then
will
and
keep
then
trying, and they will try to stack
Yeah,
on
but
top of each
meanwhile
other.
you're sitting there.
Maybe they realize it's more
Whatever
fun to
in
watch
your
than it
hand.
is to get frustrated at it.
Yeah, I mean it's it visually Loco Roco graphic design has never been its problem. It looks really gorgeous. It's cool.
Did you check out the line drawing MC Escher thing that Sam's so hyped for? What's the name of that game?
Echochrome.
Echochrome,
I
right.
didn't get a chance to try, and I really wanted to.
Wasn't there only one unit running that?
Yeah,
It's
there's
not
one
ridiculous.
unit running that.
And they only had the
line.
It is a long line.
PS3 version, not the PSP version, right?
Right, it is PS3 version, and you're right. It's a stupid long line. It was longer than I was even willing. It was like probably 8 to 10 people every time I walked past it.
Which is tragic because I think it deserves its own pod.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Koei's horse racing PS3 game G1 Jockey had like 5 units there. No one playing it.
Seriously?
Yeah.
It doesn't have 5. It has like 2 or 3.
In the Koei booth, there were 4.
Oh well,
And the guy in front of it almost like ran out and pushed me up towards it. I was like, no, I'm not playing
all
that.
right. Are we ready to move out of the?
No, okay.
PlayStation
In the
booth yet?
Sony booth, there was a theater showing a lot of trailers, and in there were some really cool things, like the senses-shattering Africa trailer that made me so fucking happy.
So do we know what Africa is
Yeah,
yet?
I know.
It's Pokemon Snap, and you drive a Jeep, and I love it.
I had to say, like, I laughed at you when you said that, and then before we did this podcast, because I had to be able to speak definitively on it, I watched it, and I'm kind of like, okay, that looks kind of cool.
Yeah, because
Like,
You were a big Pokemon Snap fan
I'm a
back in the
huge
yeah.
Pokemon
Just
Snap fan.
because-
I don't know why haven't 100 different properties ripped off that idea?
Good
'Cause
question.
it sucks.
No, it doesn't suck.
No, it
And, like,
doesn't. I mean, it's pretty
Doesn't
cool.
at all.
And when you see how good Africa's graphics look, and they look pretty good, and
They look really
the
good.
amount of animals they can put on the map. I saw this one picture of like 1,000 wildebeests on
Would
one
you girls
screen.
like me to get you a little tea set too? I mean, we could get you
But
that.
wait, but is that all you do? I mean, literally, are you taking pictures of these animals, or are you just
You're
like is
driving
you on
in
a
a Jeep
safari, or
and you
what
don't
is the
even
goal?
really know. Like,
don't
let's
really
be
know.
honest. Like,
You
it
still
just-
don't know what Africa
Yeah,
is.
but like if
you
you
just
watch,
have like a slightly
if you watch
more.
the trailer, there are parts that are from like a viewfinder perspective, and you use like binoculars perspective. So obviously, you do look at things and take pictures of them.
So the reason I'll say it looks cool is because like the animals actually look like fucking animals, and there's tons of them, and it looks like okay, like we're kind of attributing this Pokemon Snap gameplay to it because you see a photographer creeping around, like he's in the new Metal Gear Crouch. You see him creeping around with a with a camera, but we don't know like how that's going to translate into gameplay. It could be a complete disaster.
Well,
but graphically,
but something tells me that you probably can't be mauled by a lion, and you also probably can't run over the zebras.
I would bet you on both of those things, because if you can't do either of those things, why the fuck are you playing that game? If you can't be mauled by the lion or the rhino,
I don't know. It seems kind of family friendly to me. Maybe you can. It'd be awesome if you could. I don't know. Doesn't it seem kind of family friendly to you?
It would go from real title like $5 download if you can't get mauled by anything or run anything over.
Well, okay, after the Africa trailer in that theater was the trailer for Aqua, which is Art Dink's new Aquanauts holiday game.
Are you serious?
But it looks really amazing because it's like Africa underwater with really crazy good graphics, and everyone's so up on Endless Ocean for Wii, and that looks like a piece of garbage.
Famitsu,
dude.
You mean?
I met a beautiful girl last night at the place where we gathered to drink, and she actually likes games, and I asked her, "What have you been playing lately?" She's been playing that game. And
right. So beautiful girl that John's met and Famitsu. Who tell me somebody who knows shit about games that's excited about Aquanauts.
Didn't that get an award? Like it was like Cure for Insomnia or something like that. I remember seeing like a magazine give that. I don't know if that was EGM or not, but it really did get that award.
I mean, this game, you appear to be in the ocean looking at fish, but they look like real fish.
Yeah.
And then after that, after Africa, and then after Aqua was Flower, or maybe Flower.
Yeah. Who are making these games?
Flower is by that game company, the people who made Flow, which I really liked, by the way. And Flower appears to be
for 10 minutes, like we all did.
Flower appears to be you're a flower in a field, and you open your petals, and your stamen like wafts and releases pollen.
Not really.
Oh,
are
yeah.
You sure? Are you serious? How do you know that? Didn't it just show a flower?
No, it shows different flowers in different fields, like moving slowly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
4D is here.
Is this really what Sony needs to be concentrating on? I mean, like Africa.
I don't think it's such a bad thing. I mean, we can't speculate. We see guys running around in cameras, and it looks like Rob, who's like trying to hunt down like booth babes, and it looks like kind of like a little bit of that kind of sneaking. But that's all speculation. We don't know what these games are. This flower game, or it's kind of cool. I mean, we're seeing these new different styles. It's more encouraging to me than seeing. Just the sequels, like the sequel to Gran Turismo, and then Ratchet and Clank, and like all like the Jack and Daxter or whatever, like all the usual suspects.
Yeah, Sony always has been experimental too with like first party software, like especially back in the PS1 days. And maybe having a platform like PSN is like a chance for them to really like go crazy with these ideas, because there's not a lot of risk.
There are so many sequels. Think about how many games there are out right now with 4s in their number.
I'm all for experimentation. I'm just saying, if you have so many first party studios, like give us N Africa, and then hey, everybody else get working on that fucking killer app,
Right.
I don't think we're missing too many other big PS3 things in their booth.
What about PSP?
In terms of PSP, Patapon, I was really excited about this game. I didn't get a chance to play because there were long lines again.
Yeah, I was excited too.
But I know you're not into it. I talked to someone else who was really into it.
Yeah.
So, but tell your experience, Mark.
Well, so it definitely looks inspired by the people who brought you Loco Roco. Like the art direction looks amazing. Like from the E3 trailer, I was super super psyched on it. But
it's like a rhythm action puzzle game.
Yeah, there's like 3 different levels here, and you do different. It's like a 4-bar rhythm, and you kind of do one button. They introduce the 4 different buttons. One button is para, one button is pon. So you tap para 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 pon. That's like circle 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 square, and you do it on the rhythm to a beat.
Sounds like this could be the next Elite Beat Agents.
Well, yeah, or Parappa. It definitely like comes from that school of thought. But what you do actually lends commands to your little guys. So you hit circle, 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 square, and that makes them move forward. Or you hit square, square, circle, square, and that makes them attacks. And it sounds great in theory, and the art direction is definitely there. Maybe the demo just isn't the most exciting thing, because I was going back and forth with this boss, and it was just kind of annoying. It was like, okay, now I advance, now I attack, now I advance. It looks really cool, and the sound is great. Like the music is really cool. It's very much like a sound-driven game, but it kind of seems like a cool little tech demo or that sort of thing. I don't know where the full game is going to be for something like that.
They might not know yet.
Well, that's true.
Who's developing that?
It's a joint production between a French company and a Japanese studio, apparently. That's what I heard.
I mean, a lot of times these little things like this do start off as just a clever brainstorm, and then they have to get fleshed out further.
Oh wait, I just totally going another tangent. I'm really pissed off. Wipeout HD was not at the show, but it was at the event.
It was at the event the other day.
Yeah.
I was pissed.
Ryan and I are way pissed because we didn't get to see.
Me too. I wasn't at the event. I was at a different event.
We got really good videos.
What good does that do me?
On GameVideos.com. What do you mean? What does that?
I love
does that
Wipeout,
do
and now I don't get to play.
So, well, okay, you can at least see what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing that too.
Did anybody play the new Clank game for PSP?
I saw a lot of it. It looks cool. I have a hard time getting excited for those.
You're
games.
a Ratchet & Clank hater.
I'm not a hater. I
think it's for kids.
It's not my thing.
Well, it is for kids.
You love Mario.
Is it? You love it not for kids?
I'm a Mario.
Mario
Come
somehow.
on, are you trying to make fun of Mario now?
Yeah, seriously.
I think he was. Yes, I think he was just fully.
Wasn't I just letting you play my Walmart exclusive Super Mario Brothers 3 level?
Yes, you were, and that's good because I'm interested in Mario. But I mean, I like Ratchet and Clank. Don't get me wrong, but like Ratchet and Clank is not the same.
I know they're good games. It's not hitting me in the demographic, so to speak. I guess I don't know why, but yeah, both the PS3 game and the Secret Agent Clank is here, and I got a thorough demo of Secret Agent Clank. It looks really good. A lot of PSP games are looking great here. Like people are really learning the system.
Did you play that one called My Stylist?
I did not. What's that?
No.
Did you play that one, Ryan?
No. It's
What the hell is my style?
I didn't play that
Educate
either,
us.
but it's a Sony game. It involves dresses. I'm not really sure. It's for girls.
Sounds like a DS game.
It does sound like a DS game.
Yeah.
It's Sony's doing it, so that's something else, huh?
All right. So what else?
Are we done with Sony booth yet?
I think we're probably missing some PSP stuff, but we've been in Sony booth a lot.
We haven't talked about Metal Gear Online yet, but are we going to hold that for later?
I guess.
Let's
go to the Konami booth later.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, like it's telling. I mean, the Sony booth was the hub for the show. It wasn't like
That's not really anything new.
well, it is actually. TGS traditionally Sony would show like games that were already out. Like last year the Sony booth was the thing. This year it is again.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually they'll show games that are out like 2 months, 3 months.
And Capcom had a killer booth last year, and this year
Right.
not so much.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. Capcom did have a killer booth.
Choosing. Let's jump over there.
Okay.
Choosing to have no presence whatsoever for Resident Evil 5. I understand they have their reasons, but a trailer. Come on, guys, a trailer. Does it kill you
know
to have
what?
to show me a trailer?
Yeah, I'm sad to say I kind of worry that Resident Evil 5 might be further out than we think. Remember when you saw that first Resident Evil 4 trailer? I'm worried that it might be kind of a similar thing. I don't know, but yeah.
Did you see it listed on the list of games that will support the DualShock? Like I thought it's kind of early to mention something like that. Like that made me think, well, maybe it is coming sooner than we thought, but then not having it at the actual show just seems weird.
I mean, I hope it's next year, but like those interviews where he's talking about 2010.
I think he's fucking around and being an asshole.
I do too, but I would not be surprised if it's not until 2000.
Well, they did have
can't
they
wait that long.
had a really ornate display for Umbrella Chronicles. They made
Really ornate.
Yeah, I didn't actually.
Very cool
I didn't
looking.
play because we have that back at the office.
You know, I got to mess around with the new Wii Zapper.
I like the Zapper. You don't like
They
it?
had it there. No, it's actually better than it was at E3. Like it's much more quality material. Like the grip has like a little like texture to it. It's got a little place for the cord.
This is the official Nintendo one, right?
This is yeah, exactly. But you know, I don't know how much of a difference it makes to me. I'll probably play with the Wiimote and the nunchuck.
Really?
loose.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, it doesn't make that much of a difference. You know,
Well, I think
having
it makes a big difference in it. Really?
really.
Yeah, I fully think it makes a big difference because having the just the stupid zapper to hold the pieces so it feels like it's held in the right position makes the immersion into the game work. Whereas when I'm holding the Chuck and the Wiimote, I'm like, oh, I'm just holding.
I like that too. I feel like I'm pointing a stick when I use the
Yeah.
Wiimote. So yeah, I definitely like. I mean, I think it looks goofy, but I think it feels right.
Oh, it fully looks goofy.
Have you guys heard anything about the mini game that's going to come with the zapper? What?
The rumored one.
Link's
crossbow training or something. Right?
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, but that was
Apparently they announced it or showed it at like a GameStop conference or something.
That was the rumor. The rumor was that they showed that at the GameStop managers conference that they showed off the zapper with the crossbow.
I mean, Nintendo had no presence here at TGS as usual. So
yeah.
So what do you think about that?
Well, Nintendo wasn't here, but you know there were some third-party games here. Did anybody get a chance to play No More Heroes?
No More Heroes. Anybody play it?
I did,
failed.
but
I
I'm saying,
talked to
did
some people
anybody
who
else?
played it.
We failed.
I wanted to play it.
I should have
Mark,
that out and found
All
it
right,
today.
I'll
Mark, did you
drone
play it?
on about it.
Powerful Pro Baseball.
I like that, but yeah.
Yeah. So I was actually surprised, and
well, you and I both played Killer 7.
Yeah,
and we're of similar minds about Killer 7.
Mark is not the world's biggest Killer 7 fan.
No, and so when I say I'm surprised, it's a good thing for people who are excited about it, because what it really reminds me the most of, and this is Grasshopper's new game, No More Heroes, which is kind of I guess it's an adventure game. It's kind of very mysterious.
It's an action game.
Yeah,
it's straight up.
But and it has kind of GTA-like elements to it, but we still don't really know kind of the full structure of the game, and I honestly still feel like I don't know the full structure of the game.
It has GTA-like elements.
You drive a bike around a town,
and you get certain missions, and you go to certain points that trigger basically levels, which is kind of like when you interviewed Suda, he referenced Zelda. It's pretty close to. You basically go to a certain spot on the map that your informant tells you to go to, that opens up a level that you go into, and then at the end there's a boss.
Well, and he referenced Zelda,
and it's one of the 10 assassins that you have to kill to get to the top.
Right, and he talked about the Zelda-like structure to the game, but I didn't get a sense of that from the demo, but I got a total sense of Zelda from the combat, which works a lot like it. You lock on with the Z trigger, and by default you defend. And you can use the D-pad to, quickly roll in any direction. So it's pretty instantly intuitive to anyone that's played any of the Zelda games. And like a Zelda game, there's a lot of, when somebody attacks, dodge around the side, and then they're confused. And then you can either attack them with A or B, hold it down for special attacks.
But I didn't play, but I talked to a friend who did, and he said his big, complaint was, in Zelda Twilight Princess on Wii, if you swing the Wiimote horizontally, you strike horizontally. And if you swing the Wiimote vertically, you strike vertically. In this game, you don't. And you have a lightsaber. So what the fuck?
Actually, when you're swinging, it's just with the A button. That's like, they found that you just get tired when...
But it worked in Twilight Princess. Like the swinging
the way that they do it, though, is that when you attack like an enemy and you get to the final blow,
right?
It's a Suda game. It's got pro wrestling, references all over the place. And so you do a suplex. You put the nunchuck and the remote, and you do it like an upwards motion or downwards motion.
Or you pull them away from each other, or you push them into each other. And honestly, you
have all these different wrestling moves that you can do.
As somebody who loved Twilight Princess and thought that it still felt fine, I would get to an enemy in Twilight Princess and it would be like, okay, opening, attack. And I would just go, blah, 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 and just like flail that thing back and forth. You weren't like slash, slash.
So you don't think it's a missed opportunity for the first lightsaber game on Wii to not have you swinging a lightsaber?
But it is not.
Maybe that's a problem with the Wii itself, though, because how many games have had like really accurate controls where you could actually do that diagonal slash or that vertical slash?
It's not Dragon Quest Swords. Like it's not a lightsaber game. The dude has a lightsaber, but it is not the thing that like overrides the entire game. And there's a boss battle at the end of it, and it's a very old school boss battle, and I say that in a good way, because he has like 4 different attacks, and you kind of learn the patterns, and you learn like the different ways to avoid them. And I have to say, like, I don't know about the story. Like,
did they not have any cutscenes for like Destroy Man, who was that boss that you played?
It was I
mean, it's a crazy character, and that's voiced by Josh Keaton, who also does young Ocelot in Metal Gear Solid 3. He has a really kick-ass performance.
Yeah.
And they didn't. I haven't played the demo, but
no, they do. Well, I was surprised for like that they already had like real English voice acting in the.
Well, there's no Japanese voice acting,
right?
They just announced, Ubisoft is publishing this game,
right?
And,
exactly. Which Ryan Payton lied to me about a couple months ago, but
so how'd you feel about the graphics, the presentation, and everything?
They made a choice, which is to make it look a lot like, I feel like, Killer 7, which I'm kind of surprised about from Grasshopper, honestly. Like Killer 7 was such a
appreciated
bold direction.
the aesthetics of Killer 7.
But that said, it looks good. It's stylized, so you're not thinking like, oh God, like,
That's what you have to do on Wii. That's the reality.
Right, Dynasty Warriors Katana, you're like, holy crap.
Man, you stole that from me.
Oh, really? Did you guys play that?
What the hell is going on? But in a lot of Wii games, you're like that.
Legends.
I think Soul Calibur Legends looks decent by Wii standards because they just took the character data out of like Soul Calibur 2 and Soul Calibur 3.
Yeah, that's the problem. It needs to be stylized and make it look like it's a different experience rather than you're going back 5 years ago. So that's why, No More Heroes works on Wii.
Legends really stands out when you compare it to the next gen version. And you're like,
yeah, but I mean, there were Wii games on the TGS show floor that looked considerably worse than Soul Calibur Legends.
Okay.
But not any worse than Dynasty Warriors Katana.
I mean, that's no surprise. We don't have to have that argument. I mean, the Wii games generally don't.
But
look
the gulf of difference between like the good looking Wii games and the really awful looking Wii games is pretty big.
So extremely stylized. I'm impressed. Like actually, the number 2 on my biggest surprise of the show is that No More Heroes is Zero D, which is like the rating system in Japan.
Yeah,
it didn't get the dreaded Zero S or Z, which is
Z rating,
which is where most retailers won't even carry the game.
Well,
it's like the equivalent of like an AO.
How adult was what you saw?
So it starts off with him in a porta potty, which is where you apparently save in the game, is on different toilets, but. It's part of the problem was like it was impossible to hear a lot of the voice acting. I got to hear like bits of it. It wasn't really particularly bloody when you were hitting people, but the environment that you're fighting the bosses in is completely coated in different spatterings of blood and
dark blood. But that's the thing is they took out a lot of it, and when you're killing enemies in the Japanese version, there's almost like this dark matter that spews out of these guys, where in the US version, if Ubisoft decides to keep it that way, it's going to be blood, red blood.
And when you do recharge your sword, it does look like he's like jacking off.
Whoa.
Yeah. You have to recharge your sword every once in a while, hold down 1 and shake the Wii remote, and he starts shaking a little bit up in the air, his hand, and then he pulls it down in his crotch and starts just going
It's really hilarious. Yeah, so and you have to do that to charge up the Wii, like with the Wii remote.
That's impressive.
There's a lot to it.
That new trailer is really impressive. I'm rooting for those guys.
Yeah,
and it's out in like 2 months in Japan. I was surprised about that. It's out here in December, and it's out in America in like February, I think. Or
yeah, I'm surprised too. I mean, Suda said that he's submitting the master next week to Nintendo, yes. and I was very impressed. Like you're out here at TGS.
I'm rooting for it because as much as I thought Killer 7 had a host of problems, it's a very creative game, and I think he's a cool guy.
And there aren't enough masturbatory games out there.
This is true.
I mean, there should definitely be more of that.
So on the Wii, what was that? What was the Wii Sports game that
Decasporta from Hudson is the one Wii Sports clone that I think looks really pretty good. Actually, I didn't get a chance to play it, but I watched people playing it, and the graphics are good. There's a lot of variety. It doesn't come with like a power pad. Like
it's got like volleyball. I saw.
Yeah, it has a lot of. I really don't know. But I know it has a variety of games that look pretty good. It doesn't come with a stupid peripheral.
I mean, like family training where you get to run on a mat?
Yeah, which is Bandai Namco's one, which doesn't look good at all graphically, and comes with a power pad a la NES.
Yeah.
And like Nintendo has the Fit board coming out, which is a nice piece of kit. I like Wii Fit, and why not support that?
The board is way much more of a peripheral than a slightly modified dancing pad.
Yeah.
I mean, which is basically what it is. It's a slightly modified dancing pad. Alice and I played it, and there's those videos up.
God, actually, I don't know if those are
take them down.
Yeah, how much would it cost to ever have them
have those tapes destroyed?
Have them just go away.
Well, the reason they don't make it use the Wii Fit board is because that's already like segmenting the market, right? Like if you buy this game, it's going to come.
But Nintendo really wants Japanese third parties to produce games for the Wii Fit.
Well, of course they do. Yeah.
Didn't you say Konami has like a Wii Fitness game too?
They showed something at the press conference that appeared to be what would be a Wii Fit game with its own weird little peripheral, but I think it's something that's in their health clubs only right now.
It's kind of a wrist strap device to it. I think it might be coming. It's in the health clubs now. It might be coming to Wii, but it was very, very Wii Fit. People balancing on one leg, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Ryan's thrilled.
Also, for Wii.
Well, I put up my hands because like I don't even know what title you guys are talking about. But
you're better off. Did anybody see the Rygar for Wii?
No,
I didn't.
Anybody? Does it at least look PS2 level?
Well, remember Rygar came out in 2002.
Yeah.
And this looks about like that.
That's kind of depressing.
I have happy memories of what Rygar looked like in 2002. Should I not look at it again?
Well,
probably. It's going to be like seeing Final Fantasy VII CG.
Yeah, but Rygar, it was a good game. It was a good game, and it is a real game. And you do swing the Wiimote around.
It's a unique weapon that
the disc armor. So,
right.
You could do worse. You could certainly do worse.
Wow. It's not a port, right? Isn't it just like...
It's an enhanced...
Oh, so it is a port. It's a port.
I don't
need. There's enough games out there that we haven't played yet. Why do we need to play the same games?
Especially since
Rygar. I don't think that many people played Rygar,
but
so they won't be.
The problem is Rygar has been $10.
Rygar was a good game.
Rygar has been $10 for 4 years.
So I'm curious if you think this is going to be a start of a trend, not of new PS2 games also coming out on Wii, but people revisiting old PS2 games.
Well, this actually makes me. I realize
Metal Gear Solid 2 coming out on Wii when confirmed.
Is Dennis Dyack remaking it? I thought of this earlier. Like
we can't talk about it because the game's not done yet, right?
I thought about this. You know what there wasn't at TGS? PS2 games.
Not at all.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I was surprised too because in America, I think we have more. Like, because Sony's still making some there. They're porting PSP titles.
Not only is that surprising for just the simple fact of them not making it, it's surprising given how many PS2 consoles are still selling.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's right up there. I mean, isn't it just right up there with the PS3 level, like sales levels in Japan?
Yeah.
Maybe there are PS2 games, but people decided they weren't important to show, because it's more.
It's right there with the PS3 levels. I wouldn't say right up there. I mean, they're both not selling that much together. Seriously.
Well, you know what else? You know what else?
Right down
what else isn't selling here in Japan last 2 weeks is Wii, and apparently it's in stock in like the bubble burst or something. I don't know what's up with Wii.
This is true.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, no one's figured it out.
Well, maybe too early to say the bubble has burst, but
yeah. A couple of weeks of down sales. I don't. Maybe it was people just getting anticipatory for the coming game.
Supply is going to eventually meet
Sports
demand.
is still tearing up the charts 1 year later.
This is
amazing.
Yeah,
true.
and we
Crazy,
play.
isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
just
supply.
won an award 2 nights ago at like the CESA, the Japanese Association of the Game Industry, and they awarded that and Monster Hunter 2 as the games of the year.
I'll say this: walking around the show floor is that Wii has. You can definitely tell if you're walking by a booth, you can tell with just a first glance if what they're showing is a Wii game, because the way they're presenting it is a whole other sort of presentation than a hardcore game. It's almost like being at a carnival midway in America. It's very laid back. It's got people out front bringing people in. There's lots of yelling. Lots of.
Well, it takes up a lot of room too.
It takes up a lot of room. And I've seen several games. I mean, I told you I played. What's it? Chikyu Powerful Pro.
Konami's Power Pros.
Yeah, I think it's called the Power Pros or something like that.
Which
in America,
is coming to America.
It is coming to America because
and that game is great. That game is really fun. I mean, historically, that game is awesome. I haven't played the Wii
version. It's RBI Baseball, right?
When it was called RBI Baseball.
No, it's not RBI Baseball. RBI Baseball is also coming to DS, but that's Namco.
Hold on a second. Why do you think that game's great?
Oh, because I mean, it looks retarded, but it's actually a very deep sim. Like you have all these different options with career and it's actually it's a sim. It's not an arcade game.
Yeah,
it's very realistic. Baseball fan, and I'm a baseball fan. Baseball fans will like this game if you can get over the graphics.
Have you played this one?
I haven't played the Wii version, no, but they're all the same.
Yeah,
dude.
you should do that.
No, dude, they're all the same. You don't have to. You don't even have to use the Wii mode. You can play normally with the Wii version.
You should definitely go play it.
Why? Tell us about it.
Okay, so
dude, it's not different.
after someone hits the ball, both players take the Wiimote and jiggle them back and forth in the air. And by jiggling back and forth in the air, that makes the players run faster.
That sounds,
dude. That sounds like a special mode or something.
That's not.
I think that's
probably like mode. That's the mode they turn on when they.
That's what they were showing. That's what they were showing everyone because
that sounds terrible.
Yeah, that's not the regular mode. Don't worry.
I gotta tell you, it was awful.
Yeah,
it was.
See, now what you're doing though, I'm telling you, that is definitely not the regular mode to play because this is actually a really good game. I don't even know if this matters because who's going to play it, but it is a sim game, and baseball fans who want like a very good sim are gonna who can get over the graphics again, which is probably hard in America.
I will say, John, while they were showing the
it's a combination. It's like Rayman meets the Worms.
Okay, while they were showing the DS version at Konami press conference, I was like, well, this game is really deep. They were showing all these modes.
Yeah,
I was like, this game is
it's very sophisticated.
Deep.
It's extremely popular in Japan, not because it has little big head people, but because it is a very detailed sim.
Maybe that's
and they even
to do with it.
Well, I mean,
think?
they're up to like number 14 in Japan or something, so it's been around. But there's also Konami also has a realistic version of it. I forgot the name.
Yeah, it's is it Pro Spirits?
Yeah, something like that, which is basically the same like engine and I think AI, but with realistic graphics.
I'm just going to tell you this. They showed me the sim parts. I agree. The sim parts are all there. You manage your team. You manage your salaries. It's got all the pro baseball, the American Major League Baseball license.
And so don't they have a PS2 version of this? Maybe that's the one to check out. I don't know how the
both
Wii
of them are coming out in America. The only difference is that the Wii one has some extra Wii special stuff, which I'm pretty sure is probably what you saw.
Yeah, quit hating on it, Garnet. Quit the hate.
You go play that thing. I'm telling you.
I'm looking forward to it. I told Mark, you can go read the live blog. I was like, I actually want to try this game. It looks fun.
I'm
going to buy it.
It's so simplified.
Hey, let's move over to the Microsoft booth. Anybody go check that thing out? Anybody?
It was smaller this year.
The chicks were pretty hot.
I do have my
chicks wore pants this year. That's pretty rare.
You didn't talk about in the Square booth Infinite Undiscovery.
Oh,
it's because he couldn't find it.
Well, it wasn't.
No, it was in the.
It wasn't
theater,
playable,
right?
and it was not in the closed mega theater. It was in the not so closed regular theater, and
he doesn't.
But I can talk about the. Actually, I need to talk about this. So today I attended a roundtable interview with the team at Tri-Ace who's making Infinite Undiscovery.
Yeah,
and they showed a trailer. That's not that.
I know
you're showing me a Star Ocean First Departure fan. This is for PSP, which looks really good. So we come into this, and there's a lot of journalists from lots of different outlets. We get to take turns asking questions. And at first it could be standard stuff like what's the plot, what's the battle system like, and it sounds like
development going.
The battle system, it sounds like
is it 1080?
it's like Star Ocean except
Is it?
Yeah, how many memory blocks does this game require? That's the kind of questions you get in these things. But no, so it looks like Star Ocean battles, which are like real time. Yeah, real time basically. Except this time they happen on the field. It doesn't switch to a separate battle screen. It looks kind of like standard.
So you
stuff.
see enemies like
they just walk up to you. It's like FF12.
Okay.
And you control the main character, and the other characters are AI. There's no co-op. There's no online. It's pretty standard stuff. But after the regular questions got exhausted, this one journalist who had somehow snuck into this. It was a European journalist who wasn't supposed to be there.
Oh boy.
Her question was like, why is the Xbox 360 such a failure? Why are you making this game? How much money are you being paid by Microsoft to make this game?
Actually, that's not a bad question.
And
they said,
the rest of us were all kind of like, wow, we can't believe she asked the question that's on everybody's mind that, we're all too polite to actually ask. And then, they all laughed, and the PR guy was the Japanese PR guy started to answer the question.
The answer was a lot.
It's like, oh, wait, there's this thing called America.
But then it got
Europe.
into complex things like originally Microsoft had approached us to make this game, and now Square Enix and Tri-Ace are making this game, but Microsoft may help us co-market it. Yeah, but there was some sort of strangeness going on obviously here. And then people kept pressing the issue on that. Like why is Xbox 360 failed? Is there any hope that Xbox 360 will succeed?
Is that they pulled out of the backside of it.
That's something of the implication. But and the people just, once she opened this door, then the rest of the interview was just like, why are you making this game? Why would you ever make this game? No one's going to buy this game.
See, what I thought Shane was implying that this could be opening it up for a potential port, or
Well, and that was what everyone was getting to. Is could this ever come to PS3?
I mean, honestly, the people who are making things exclusive for one or the other, who are not getting some kind of money, Ryan, maybe you can talk about this, but people who are getting, what sense does it make? Tell me, in this day and age, what sense does it make to be making your game for only one system?
There's a lot of reasons. I mean, you can go down the laundry list.
Besides development kind of thing.
That's a big reason, though.
Right. Well, but
I think there's a difference between Kojima Productions making MGS4 for PS3 versus this very Japanese RPG being made for a system that's very unpopular in Japan, Whereas
That's fair.
MGS4 is a very international game, and the PS3 is more successful internationally than it is in Japan.
But Infinite, or actually that's Last Remnant that they're very much making. Square is very much making for the Western market. If you're taking the whole world into account, which I think any modern AAA game has to. But the funny thing is, I asked them, I was like, well, so are you considering the West while making this game? And their answer was, no, we're making this for a Japanese market. Okay, yeah, then you're fucked. I don't know.
Right,
what you are thinking.
It's just like Sakaguchi. Why would you put these two huge titles that you're going to spend literally tens of millions of dollars on, like Blue Dragon, Lost Odyssey? Why would you put this on an unproven Xbox console?
Because that's what they wanted to make.
Because because there are things going on behind closed doors. I mean, there's money exchanging hands. Japan obviously needs RPGs to even have a pulse for the Xbox 360.
And the game looks good. I mean, I think it looks good. I like Tri-Ace games. I like Star Ocean. I like Valkyrie Profile.
I only saw the trailer. The trailer that I saw at the pre-TGS Xbox conference. I remember seeing the screenshots last year and being like, "Holy shit, this game looks amazing." The stuff that I saw, very brief trailer thing that I saw, didn't really
visually. It looks.
I thought it was. I thought it was like a multiplayer online game because that's kind of a lower tier, and I was kind of like, okay, for a multiplayer online game doesn't.
It's a single player action RPG.
Too bad, right?
And then so at the end, because they announced Star Ocean 4 back at Square Enix Party, and then here there's a new trailer and they're showing screenshots of it, and they still haven't revealed what platform or platforms it is for. So at the end, I asked them, I was like, when are you guys going to reveal the platform? And they're just going to laugh and laugh and laugh, and people are like, I hope it's not exclusive to Xbox 360 because you'll lose. Your market in Japan will be livid. This is a popular franchise.
Nobody. It's only a question of whether it's going to be multi-platform.
Everybody's
or
reporting that it's PlayStation 3. Are they wrong? Or was that
they say that has not been revealed, and that those reports are unfounded. Apparently, it's not. Nothing has been revealed. So
it could be
yes.
Contracts haven't been signed yet. That's what
based
it's
on the graphics, it's obviously for a next gen console. But I think the fear is if Microsoft would want it and pay enough money, maybe
I honestly don't think it's that. It's a matter of whether it's going to be PS3 only or whether it's going to be PS3 and 360.
But here in Japan, we've already seen other Japanese third parties not even announcing the 360 versions of multi-platform games in America. That's starting to happen now.
So let's hope it's on 360 because that would make things really interesting.
Yeah,
Wait, like with what? What are you talking about?
Silent Hill 5 from your corporation.
I still think that's like I don't know. You guys said the same thing about Virtua Fighter 5, and that just got announced in Japan this week too.
Right.
So it's like I think these games will come to Japan.
I think that might do okay.
Because
DOA did
marketing and these announcements and everything are all about timing, right? And in Japan, the timing almost doesn't even matter. So that also might be why they haven't announced it yet. You know, I mean, there's like even if they do announce it, it's like no one's even going to notice. So.
All right. So what else?
Well, what else at Microsoft?
You
mentioned one game. What else? What else did you say?
I saw one of my favorite crazy games of the show there. It's called Operation Darkness. Have you seen this thing?
The Sega thing with Hitler?
No, it's from Success.
Well, it's published by Sega because
it being published by Sega?
This be distributed by Sega. I saw a video of this. I thought it looked garbage.
It's the craziest funny thing I've ever seen in my life.
Do you see the graphics?
Yeah.
Did you see those?
It's all right. Come on.
It looks like a PC shareware game, dude.
It does not look like a PC shareware game.
Maybe I saw a different game.
Okay, so this is the turn-based tactics like Final Fantasy Tactics, set in World War II, where you play as the Allies, and some of the people on your squad...
Great, another World War II game.
Oh, it gets better. Some of the guys on your squad can turn into werewolves.
Okay, now I'm interested.
Awesome.
And when they
you got me.
And when they turn into werewolves, they can move super fast and they get bonus power-ups, and they still wield bazookas. Which is awesome. Werewolves firing bazookas at tanks is fantastic. And after they kill all the tanks and German enemies, there's a big light that flashes on the battle, and all the Nazis rise up from the ground as zombies. So it's werewolves with bazookas fighting zombie Nazis in a tactical turn-based combat game on the 360.
Okay, now I'm interested.
Something actually we missed, just to go back to another PS3 game, but the Valkyrie Battlefield game.
We haven't done Sega yet. I was saving Sega for its own thing because I did everything at Sega. So.
And I fully didn't make that shit up, by the way. That is seriously the game.
Let's go Microsoft. Did you see King Under Fire 3? Anybody?
Yes, I did actually. I checked it out.
What do you think?
You know what? I'd like the same thing.
Is it pure action now?
It was purely action. It's very
Dynasty Warriors.
It's very Dynasty.
Did you play Dynasty Warriors 6?
It's 5.
It's 5 here. It's 5 here in America. It's 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very DW. I didn't get into it enough to know if there's depth beyond that. But I do like one thing about it. I like the art style of it. I like the art style and the presentation of it.
But like I felt with Outlaws Odyssey, Microsoft's booth just felt like a Microsoft America booth, basically.
I mean, the biggest lines they had was for Assassin's Creed, and that was encouraging.
They weren't. Did they have Ninja Gaiden?
That's the second biggest line.
They weren't really showing that in the booth.
No.
Yeah.
What was the biggest?
They were drawing huge crowds. Maybe not lines.
Halo had crowds.
Ace Combat.
Halo was drawing huge crowds, and that actually really impressed me. Halo was drawing huge crowds.
It's out in a few days, though. I mean, it's like
it's out right now in the UK.
Yeah, I know.
You know the other game that's drawing huge crowds, regardless of platform and booth that it's in, and it's in lots of places, is Winning Eleven.
Of course.
Well, Winning 11 is gigantic here. I mean,
I know, but we should talk about it because it is big here.
It's out soon. It's out in November in Japan for both. Apparently for 360 as well. It's coming out in November.
Spring in Europe.
February,
that Wii one.
March.
Yeah, and the Wii version wasn't here, but they showed it briefly.
And I also played the DS version.
Maybe it's the second DS version because
it's got to be the second.
First one came out a while ago. So
yeah, so it's the DS version.
I mean, Winning 11, it's always great. It's soccer, big whoop. I mean, it's great. What are you gonna talk about?
Yeah.
You can grab each other's jerseys now. That's
I thought you
cool.
guys were all complaining. Well, I guess John's not here. So John, when we get back, we'll talk with you about it. John's complaining.
Not on the podcast, I hope. I mean, I love Winning 11, but he wants to hear about soccer.
Oh, me too.
Yeah,
yes,
Jesus.
amen.
We like some soccer. By the way,
are we out of the?
That Luke and I, and as a matter of fact, the entire floor played some hella cool soccer when we did the World Cup
Yeah,
challenge.
I recall.
So are we out of the Microsoft booth yet? Because I got one title that I actually.
We're not out yet.
Okay. Did anybody play Guilty Gear 2 Overture?
Okay, so I've heard wildly mixed reports of this. I walked by Arc System Works, the developers booth, and I saw it, and I was like, I don't know what to make of this.
I sat there and I watched somebody play, because I was just standing in line, and it takes about 20 minutes to go through that demo. I watched two guys in front of me play for about 30 minutes in total, and I still have no idea what's going on.
It's a 3D brawler, right?
It's like a 3D brawler, but there's RTS elements, and they pass
I think
around.
it's like a Kingdom Under Fire type of game.
It
where
is,
it's like
but it's weird. It's
weird.
They got the weird art direction first off, and it's kind of all the colors and there's blood, but
I like Guilty Gear.
Yeah, and I like Guilty Gear too. And that's why they only let me out of my cage for 90 minutes, and they let me run wild. And that's one of the places I went is to check out an RTS that's based on a fighting game that's on 360 and developed in Japan.
3D based on a 2D fighting game. It looked to me, I saw very limited. I had a very limited exposure to it.
Did you guys get any videos? Because I want to study this.
We did get video, but I don't even know if we put it up because it was like. It's like what's his name from Guilty Gear, like the main guy next to a campfire,
Soul Bad Guy,
going through menus, that's it. And to me, it looked like complete pre-alpha. What is this doing here? No gameplay.
There's so many different layers they're already putting on it. I mean, there was like
so
8 different. No, I can't say I was impressed, but I'm not reading. Yeah, I'm baffled. I'm not really willing to write it off yet, but
no, I'm not either. But it's like, what the hell is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Did it have the shred metal in it?
The shred metal?
Dude, I'm sure it did.
I didn't hear
Guilty Gear, Heaven or Hell, fight.
Oh yeah. It did have those elements of that heavy metal.
Importantly, did it have the 13-year-old transvestite nun in it?
I didn't see any of that.
Oh, okay.
Unconfirmed. But that's one of the only few games I got to check out.
And
I was disappointed because
in a vaguely related field, whenever you're walking to TGS, every year SNK buys these like ads that you're walking up. And I saw one today, and it was for King of the Fighters. What's the 3D one called? King of Fighters like Neo.
Is it like Impact or something?
Maximum Impact 2, and the subtitle is like.
Oh, you've got it.
Oh, it's regulation, which is supposed to be regulation, but it says regulation. And I was just glancing a second, I thought it said King of Fighters Maximum Impact 2 regurgitation.
That would be honest.
I know. I was like, so brutally honest.
That would be awesome.
It was actually regulation.
I heard there's a new Samurai Showdown here.
There's a new Metal Slug for DS.
Yeah, I definitely heard
but
about
SNK
that.
Playmore is not the SNK you once knew.
No, that's true.
No, SNK still.
Okay, let's get to Sega, because I have been very excited about playing Knights. What's it called? Magic of Dreams.
Boy.
Something.
Have you really?
I'm an old school Knights fan.
Had you seen any of the videos?
I'd seen the videos,
now?
but in 1997, back when I was reading John Riccardi's Intelligent Gamer, I remember there was a big, Super Mario 64 versus Knights, like who was on top, and I think
you remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that one. I think you gave Mario an A+ and Knights an A.
Knights got an A. Come on.
I didn't write it. It was,
and I really
I didn't write it.
I was a big,
I like that.
I got Saturn guy, and I got perfect Knights. I love Knights. I played Christmas Nights. I used to sing.
Well, you didn't like Knights more than Mario 64.
No, but I did like it, and and so in my heart, I still have this love for Knights. So I walked up to Knights with a heart full of love,
and you left with some old love
with like
I think that's a Reba McEntire song.
I left with like a bittersweet, nostalgic tinge, and I did like it. Like the gameplay, I would say is like 80 to 85% as good as Saturn Knights. It's a lot like it.
That is the most depressing statement I have ever heard. That is so sad. What game series are you going to say like, yeah, you know what? The new one is, it's almost 80% of where they were 10 years ago.
11 years ago.
I need your support on this. Can we fucking kill the percent change thing? I'm kind of over it. I mean, I feel like if
I don't know. I think I speak for the average Joe. I love it, and I want more percentages out of shame.
Guys put percentage on. I think everything.
We were giving a girl a 5.5 earlier. You're like, what?
Did Kingdom Hearts is making numbers cool again?
So anyway, the gameplay, it's missing a few of the things in the old Knights. And that was weird. And like when you're walking around as the kids, the collision detection was...
You're walking around as the kids still?
Of course, you're collecting the... whatever they're called, little orbs. And
Christmas Nights is the best thing that ever came out of Nights, I gotta say.
But the problem is, even though the gameplay is pretty much there, the graphics are like... incrementally better than Saturn graphics, and I'm not
12.5%
I
better
am not
than
shitting.
Saturn
I'm not
graphics.
shitting you, but I still like the game. I still like Knights, and it is still fun to play, and I do want to play more. But I got to say, I'm like,
but what happened there? Like, I mean, this is like
it's a mystery.
Arguably,
but it is
Sega's biggest Wii release.
It is still good. It is still good.
What do you mean? What happened there? Why are we surprised? Look.
Sonic Team, they don't make bad graphics. They generally do good in that department. So who is this? Like the D team on this?
Sonic Team. Come on. Sonic Team
does have bad graphics for
a shadow of what
it does have bad graphics.
I would say it is like on the lower 40th percentile of Wii graphics.
Oh no! I love it.
Come on.
I would put it at the 61st percentile.
But yeah, like
Look,
Seriously,
John, tell us what you really think about Sonic Team USA.
No, well, I mean, it's not about USA or anything else. I mean, but let's be honest. Sonic Team has not been what they were. I mean, in a long
get me
time.
started on
And what they
Fantasy
were
Star
was
Universe.
really only a short window of time when you look at it when they were really brilliant. I mean, back when PSO came out, I mean, PSO was, I would say, for me, PSO was their high point.
I was going by-
I've never been a big Sonic fan. I appreciated Knights.
Yeah.
Actually, I really liked Christmas Nights because I only had to play it for like 10 minutes and it was pretty, and that was it. But
What is all this apologetic shit that people have about Knights? Because they know everyone loves Knights, but no one is just gonna say like, you know what? It fucking looked amazing for a Saturn game. The gameplay wasn't horrible, but there was nothing ever there.
Yeah, it was never
nothing
anything
ever
really
there.
special.
old-fashioned kind of game.
We're going back now, but I mean, Knights, I'm going to get shit for this, but Knights came from a time when Sega fans were very defensive people, and they were like, really at odds with Nintendo fans, and they needed their anything to combat, the Nintendoids, or whatever you want to call it, and Knights was it. And everybody flocked to it, and Knights became, their savior. But come on, looking back realistically, we're all friends now. Sega and Nintendo, they're in bed. They're making Olympic games
Sonic and
together.
Mario,
Knights is
yeah.
not that good. I'm sorry. I think
I think in its
I
own...
think the bigger problem is the disconnect in the controls. Like Matt called them floaty, so I had to check it out. I did check it out for a minute.
What, did you play the Wiimote controls or the nunchuck controls?
Wiimote controls.
I recommend the nunchuck controls. It plays just like old
But
Saturday.
see,
plays like Saturday Night.
Yeah, but okay, that brings me to a question. Why even put it on Wii? If Knights is a game that would have benefited from killer graphics, why not put it on 360 and PS3?
So ultimately, that's the problem. Like the graphics are ugly. I mean, they're aesthetically nice, but they're like technically repulsive, and it could have been beautiful on PS3 or 360.
Right. Knights is almost like almost like Flow or something. Like if it was really beautiful, like to look at. You could maybe that would make up for this gameplay shortcomings or whatever.
Yeah, but
like Wii, I mean,
back up. What audience? Like seriously, if you're the guy that decides what system Knights goes on, besides the DS,
it is
let's
the
say
kiddie.
not
It
handheld.
is.
Yeah,
I mean, you're like
running around as
you're
kids.
like a ballerina baby looking for magic flowers. I mean,
Thank you.
seriously.
Okay, so I think
that is true. That's true.
the
that's
system
true.
is not the problem. Even with the controls where you're flying around, that lends itself to the Wiimote. But everything from there on out is.
Why does it lend itself to the Wiimote though? I mean, because that was the game that actually introduced the analog stick for Saturn, right? I mean, so it's analog.
It introduced an entire controller.
Well, but
Right, that's what I mean.
You could say 6-axis, but I mean, like flying around, you don't think of that at all. And like with the Wiimote, kind of like floaty, moving around controls. Like,
But I always felt like Knights was on rails in the first place, so I never felt like I had like tons
It's
of
still on,
free
it's still
control.
completely on rails. I mean, there's a few bits where you're flying in first person now, but overall, but like as I said, it's still good. Maybe it'll turn out okay. Okay. Also in Sega's booth was the Valkyrie PS3. It's a strategy game mixed with action elements, and I didn't get to play it, but I got to watch people play it. I interviewed the team, and I think it's really cool. The graphics are interesting.
Yeah.
It's set in like this alternate reality World War II.
It's in like the 1930s in Europe.
Well, and like the plot is in this world, every like 18-year-old kid, boys and girls both, get like inscripted into the army and like are forced to serve. So no one's like a real soldier. So
Right.
They're all like
It's like a school teacher is
Yeah.
your main character. You're
and
in
there's
this
there's a baker.
yeah. You're in this like Switzerland like country that's caught between these two superpowers, and it looks like a like Princess Mononoke. It looks like a Hayao Miyazaki movie.
They have this new canvas shading. It's kind of like
Yeah.
cell shaded, but you see all the stroke marks. It looks really neat.
really, really
cool,
pretty.
and it's not
Yeah.
obnoxious. It doesn't fucking hit you over the head with
Right.
it. And really, at its heart, what it seems like is like a Fire Emblem kind of game, but it has like some real time elements mixed
You aim
into
your
it.
guns. Yeah.
Yeah, you move around and you have a movement allowance. You have a bar that as you move counts down, and while you're moving around, you will get shot if you can be hit by different things. But you position your guys up on rooftops. It's kind of like a mix between, I guess, like an RTS and like a Fire Emblem type game.
What aspect of it is like Fire Emblem? Because that's the part that has me really interested.
What's like
I love
Fire
Fire
Emblem
Emblem.
is you go to this overhead map and you see the enemies, and you then zoom down into your guy, and like at its heart, it's more in real time, but at its heart, you're moving different types of soldiers
units
around.
across the battlefield.
And,
Yeah.
and I asked you get 50 different characters, all like unique real characters in the game. That's pretty interesting. And I think it looks really cool. It comes out like next summer. I think it's hopefully coming to America.
It's
Very-
gotta
great.
come to
Looks
Very
great.
encouraging. Also, the new Yakuza, the one that's set in the Edo period for PS3, it looks really good.
That looks awesome.
By the way, did you see
I'm
the
so
2 is
stoked for
coming?
that.
Yeah, like when I announced that
Wait,
last
that
week,
got announced like officially, or
it did, yeah. And like I said that on the podcast last week with like crossing fingers. I heard it was coming. Like I'm happy they finally did announce that. So like the new PS3 one
And-
looks really great.
about Yakuza 2? Is it true that it's going to keep Japanese voices?
That's what I'm hearing.
Thank God.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, they're gonna do that. and they'll say like, "Oh yeah, we heard the fan reaction," but really, like, they're gonna save money.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah! I mean,
Yeah.
that was they spent all that money on those famous actors, and nobody bought the game anyway, and it wasn't even that. Special.
Yakuza 3 we call it, but it's actually we were talking about that. It's kind of a misnomer because.
Right.
What do you call it exactly? You're not quite Yakuza anymore.
I actually even in Japan, actually one of the guys from the team who's making that was at our party the other night, and I was talking to him about it, and I was like, "Oh, I'm really excited about Ryuga Gotoku 3. That's a Japanese Ryuga Gotoku is a Japanese name," and he's like, "It's not 3," and he wasn't even talking about Yakuza. Like even in Japan, they're trying to distinguish it from the first two games.
Yeah, whatever. It's the third game in the series. He's going to be like, "Oh no, it's not 3." Like, but yeah,
it's like Kenzan, right?
But the point you were getting to is that it's especially not 3 when you put it in English because it has nothing to do with the Yakuza.
That is absolutely true.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see, though. I mean, Yakuza, which was incredibly Japanese, this is almost going more Japanese. So I'm surprised by that they're bringing Yakuza 2 to America. I'm very happy about it because I personally want to play it, but I don't know. Like it does look pretty good. Like you said, Shane, last week, I agree with you totally for a Sega game on PS3. Like it looks pretty good. There's turtle racing. You can gamble on turtles. Yeah, Ryan.
Sweet turtle racing.
Well,
with
there's
gambling.
one more game I played in Sega's booth that I have to talk about, and that is Sega Dreamcats, and I'm loving it.
If they're smart, they will call it that.
It's called Yume Neko, which means Dream Cats, and it's they really.
That would be a killer name, but you just made that up
completely.
Though, right?
No, I told people at Sega that, and they were like, "That's a good idea." And
spread the word, everyone.
I've spread the word, but it's it's a really blatant Nintendogs ripoff, but you can do some different things. It's well implemented. Nintendo didn't do it.
Nintendogs ripoff. Yeah, Nintendo. Well, according to some people, might be working on it. If they're not, they're stupid.
Sega Dreamcats, I think they're going to beat them to the punch. So, we haven't really talked about Konami's booth yet.
You forgot my Shiren the Wanderer.
Yeah.
How could you forget Shiren the Wanderer?
Garnet, do you even know? Do you even know?
I mean, we can sum up Shiren the Wanderer in like 5 minutes. Two of them came out in America. They sold about 17 copies combined.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about your series and all the games you know about in this franchise?
Oh, I'm not even going there. I just thought I actually had that explained to me though. So
Shiren the Wanderer, I think the best way to explain it now, sadly, is it's the same series as Pokemon Mysterious Dungeon from the same developer.
It's absolutely like
I mean, in Japan, this is a big franchise. It's been on every platform, and Shiren is actually the fan favorite in Japan.
The last time it was Saturn, right?
It was
no, it's been out. It's on DS. There's a few on DS.
There was one on Dreamcast.
There's one on PS2. There's one on PS1.
Yeah,
they're all.
The last time it was new.
You mean specifically Shiren?
Yes.
The last time it was new was on N64. Believe it. Well, Dreamcast had, yes, that's right. Dreamcast had like a spin-off or something.
Yeah.
But number 2 was on N64. Anyway, it's not popular in the West. These games don't really sell well. It's basically the evolution of Rogue.
It's
old school.
Not basically, it's totally the evolution of Rogue.
But those don't sell. They've come to America 2 or 3 times. Only the Pokemon ones sell, but they didn't sell because of the gameplay. They sold because of the Pokemon.
The Chocobo Mysterious Dungeon for Wii could end up in America.
These games are all shit. Let's talk about that.
That's why they bring it to DS though, right?
There's also a Sakura Tyson one too here.
These games are garbage.
So what's the overall impression
It's not garbage, but
it is garbage. I know you like Torneko.
No, it's not
because you love fucking Dragon Quest.
He loves to be a shop owner.
These games are garbage.
But you didn't
Do
play
not
Rogue
buy
back in the
them.
day?
What?
You didn't play Rogue like when you were young?
ASCII Rogue. Tell me you never played Rogue.
Right,
no, I played enough of these mysterious dungeon games. They are garbage.
There's a nostalgia
Stay away
element
from
to it.
them.
I'll
if
give
you
you
have
that.
nostalgia clouding your judgment, then yeah, maybe you'll like them. Otherwise, stay the fuck away.
Ryan, are you
TGS
about to get into Metal Gear?
No, I'm not. Well, I'm actually just going to ask if, actually, maybe wrap into.
Well,
I think that's
you got one more game.
I have more DS game.
I have another game to talk about because last week I got hated on for not mentioning Level 5's DS titles. And Level 5, the publisher / developer, had a really populated booth because they were giving out a free game, a free demo there.
Yeah.
And
A free DS game in a case and everything with the cartridge.
Wow. So, John, you were in the know with them. Tell
I
us
also
about
played
games,
Ninja Gaiden on DS.
which is awesome.
It is really cool.
Yes, that looked really good.
And you know what I'm finding is like the more that I play my DS in book style, the more I like it in book style. I actually really like playing my DS open.
You should get face training while you're here.
When's Ninja Gaiden coming out on DS? Have they said?
No, they haven't really said. And
they're trying to get it out this year.
Yeah, based on what they showed, I'm going to guess that that's probably not going to happen because they were just showing a very small little like sample battle.
It's ambitious. It's ambitious, I think.
But what was cool about the sample battle, and I think this is key to if you're going to develop on the DS and switch to book style, is that the first thing you think is if you're going to switch to book style, then you don't have the landscape orientation on the screen anymore. And if you think about cell phone games, that's always been a problem with adventure games on cell phone. The the little 3 areas in the Ninja Gaiden demo, why they worked is because if you think of normal, and work with me here visually, if you think of normal game design being a horizontal area where you're working left or right, they took that and turned it to the vertical orientation so that you're working in and out of the level so that it works in the book orientation while you're playing it. That's pretty smart.
Well, what impresses me the most about this game is the gameplay. Like, it really works. You're controlling your character. You're using magic. And it's fun. It's
really
actiony.
Cool.
It's not
you use quick little
an adventure
strokes.
game. You
use
know,
quick little strokes to do everything. It's like down, up is the slam, is the jump and slam.
Yeah,
mode.
I would say it's one of the best third-party action games I've ever played on DS.
And anybody who's had a problem with 3D graphics on DS, let me tell you what. That fucking game looks good.
Well, there's not a lot of 3D going on.
That game looks good.
Well, talking about 3D graphics on DS, I decided to play some nerd games today because I know no one else was going to. So I went and played Tales of Innocence on DS, which is the new Tales game.
I think I called that not as shitty as the last one.
It's not shitty at all, actually. It's way better than the last one. There was one that came out for DS, I don't know, 8 months ago or something in Japan that was really awful. But this one is actually really nice, 3D. It's more like the PS2 Tales games in that it's actually, playable, and that was really fun. And the 3D was really nice. I know.
No, Tales is a popular franchise, guys.
It'll never come to America. I mean, I know.
I know that it is. I cannot tell one from the fucking next to save my life. It's
if you play the Tales of Fandom games, it combines them all.
No, that's okay, really. And then on the other game on DS that I wanted to play. I wanted to play Final Fantasy IV. I didn't get a chance. Mark didn't.
Don't hate on it, dude. Don't hate on it.
Well, he's just saying it didn't look good.
It didn't look good.
You even played a Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy 3 didn't look that good. I mean, let's be honest. I mean,
what do you want me to say? Yeah, it didn't look good. Do
they at least use both screens all the time now? Or
what I saw was using both screens, but it didn't look good. Let's talk about positive DS stuff.
I played
Space Invaders Extreme
and Arkanoid,
Arkanoid, which I did not play,
Mama
but
2.
I heard about.
Cooking Mama 2.
Well, what's funny about
all in Taito's booth?
Cooking Mama 2, which was, isn't it just Cooking Mama 1 with new recipes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Space Invaders Extreme, which is Space Invaders meets Arkanoid meets
Please don't say Geometry Wars. Okay, good.
Yeah. Where the hell would you get Geometry Wars? No. You shoot different invaders. They drop power ups very much in the. It's like
the invaders are also they're really big.
Yeah,
how big everything is.
Some of them are. It's all sorts of different things. It's kind of what Arkanoid was to break out. This is, but with a lot of music stuff mixed in. So there's all kinds of different. You going through stages very fast. It's not like old Space Invaders where you're like, you have to concentrate and hit each line in a row and stuff like that. There's different Space Invaders. They flash and they blow up like bombs, kind of like a puzzle game. There's like boss Space Invaders that are huge. They're doing all sorts of different things. The game's moving really fast, and there's a beat behind you, and like tons of crazy shit, almost too much going on behind the screen. Very much like every Extend Extra,
and like it also that you can simulate the dial controller. Did you try that?
Mm-mm. No, what I did was no touch control.
There's a mode with touch control where you can like simulate the dial controller.
That sounds not. I don't know.
Some people will swear by it,
but really, what it comes down to is you get different shots. Like some of them push invaders up into other invaders. It's kind of like these weird puzzle game elements where you're taking out blocks of invaders, kind of like you do in a puzzle game. It's playing with a lot of different things, but it's it's at its heart, it's very like retro pixely graphics, which is really cool. And every shot you take and every invader you hit is making a noise, a lot like Rez, that's adding to kind of the overall soundtrack. So, like, I don't want to talk it up too much because it is like a surprise of the show, and everyone's kind of talking about it because it's like, well, what'd you see that you didn't expect before this? And yeah, it is that. It's not huge. It's not going to change things, whatever, but it is kind of a cool
Wasn't there already
surprise.
a Space Invaders game on DS that was like crap, before this?
I'm sure they put out a ton of it for everything.
Was Dragon Quest 9 there?
No, 4 was.
Yeah, I played 4. 4 was good.
What'd you think?
4 was good. It's like it's basically a port of the PS1 game. Which is kind of surprising because it actually looks exactly like the PS1 game, which is actually looked like shit on the PS1, but on the DS it actually looks really good.
It was
you know
a
what
7
I mean?
engine.
7 engine, slightly modified, slightly improved 7 engine, which was, we all made fun of it back in the day. But like on DS,
you and I both gave it 9s.
No, the game is great, but it looked awful.
Really? It was very retro, but I kind of liked it.
By the time it came out, it looked ancient.
I was in the minority, and I liked it because it fits the Dragon Quest like feel perfectly. It's very consistent.
Right. I think your review read, I walked across the field, a slime appears, Drockway, I am home 9.0.
My review?
Yeah. Maybe that was my review. I can't even remember.
Yeah, but here's a couple of things I noticed about that today. One is that it's very smooth. It is 3D. It's very smooth. It looks just like the PS1 game. Sounds really good. Controls really good. It's odd. The menu on the bottom looks like you would touch it, but there's no touch control. And I asked the guy, is that just for the demo or is that for the home game too, like the final game? And he's like, no, there's no touch control in the final game, which is weird, like because you have a touch screen with
touching is
menu.
bad.
But the other thing was that it is I forgot where I was going with this.
Getting old, John.
I know I am. It's obvious that the character, there's like on the top of the screen, it has your menus and everything. They have character portraits and everything, and it looks like. Remember when Dragon Quest VIII came out in America? They like totally redid it for America. They changed the menus and everything. It looks like they almost started there this time. Maybe they're planning to bring it to America because it looks like.
Did you think they're not coming to America? They're coming to America.
I mean, I hope they are coming to America, but I heard
a year ago that they were starting to relocalize all those games.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, looking at the game today, you get the impression that they just decided from the get go, let's make it for in Japan too. Something that will be appealing to the Western market as well. So that's cool.
DS still absolutely blowing up. I mean, I gotta ask you a question: how was SimCity for DS received here? It kind of just flat.
Totally. What was the reviews in Famitsu? It's really bad for Famitsu reviews.
Fours, all like 8s,
which is basically like a 0 or a 1.
I don't remember. It was bad though. In the US media.
Is it Populous? Can you talk about that?
Well, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Is because all of a sudden, they closed that studio. EA basically pulled their production facilities out of Japan, and then out of nowhere on Wednesday night announces, "Oh, well, we're actually going to make a game in Japan, and it's going to be Populous for the DS." What
EA closed is their own internal studios, but they've always been working with external developers in Japan to make games like SimCity and stuff, and that's probably what that's about.
Well, okay, but so obviously you're right. It's not going to be an internally developed game from a developer sense, but they are supplying the producer, and the producer is going to be a Japanese producer. So I mean, they're doing a little more than just nothing.
Yeah, they didn't close their office entirely. They closed literally the development studio, like the guys who were doing the programming.
Okay. Anyway, why Populous? I mean, what is it? That's what I ask him. I mean,
would you have preferred SimAnt?
So now this guy he's done the DS version of a Will Wright game, and now he's doing the DS version of a Peter Molyneux game.
Well, maybe this one turned out better.
So is there anything else?
Does anybody want these games? I didn't like them that much back in the day, so I don't know. But
Populous was huge, and I think Populous actually has a better chance of it being a good DS game because it was really popular on console.
I really played I love Populous on Genesis. I don't know why. It's a mystery.
And so it could totally translate well to DS, right?
Yeah,
but interestingly enough, because talking about touch control, one of the things he pointed out to us in talking, because they haven't even shown anything in the game, was that they're not going to focus on emphasizing touch control. I think they might even use touch control because that wasn't the way the game was played, and they're not going to mess with that.
Interesting.
Weird.
Like, why are you putting it on this platform?
I think it might be time to talk about Metal Gear.
I think it's time to talk about Metal Gear.
You guys need a break? I mean, are you guys ready to go?
I think we can hit this thing in a home run with Metal Gear. I don't know about you guys.
I think we take it to the home base.
I've been looking at this. I've been looking at this map. I've been looking at this map of Tokyo Game Show, and we haven't talked about Jalico.
Oh, we missed.
Did
Jalico.
we need to?
Or D3?
Get Kitty.
Dark Sector. Was Earth Defense Force 4 at the show? Because if not, then
Dark
D3
Sector
doesn't matter.
Weirdly enough, but yeah, we've kind of hit all the high notes except for maybe Kojima Productions.
Last segment, Metal Gear 4.
Bringing it home with the 1UP Network, or at least the 1UP Years podcast game of TGS.
Well, there's 2 games.
No, but he's saying we have one favorite game. I think we're all pretty much in agreement that.
I think we should talk about Metal Gear Online too.
Yeah,
all right, well, let's talk about Metal Gear Online.
I played it today.
Who else
played it today?
I did too. Did you go through the briefing?
I did. There was a hot chick with a riding crop.
Yeah, did she call on you?
No, but I was
calling you.
No, she didn't.
I was A6, so I had like my own special objective because like you're in groups of 6, and like she would tell you like what your objective was on the mission. and teach you how to play.
Were you on the red team?
I was on the red team.
Oh, see, blue team didn't get any of that.
Really?
Shit. No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
I was supposed to snipe people.
It was cool because you. Oh, okay. That's interesting that they told someone to do that because I saw someone doing that. I'm like,
I wasn't. I tried it for a second, but I wasn't having that much fun, so I went to use a machine gun.
So it was cool because there was like a little briefing room, and they had like a hot booth babe with a riding crop, like deconstructing, like saying this is what your mission. She's like, sit down, like yelling at people, and I caught like every.
Is this you're doing, by the way, Ryan Baton?
No.
All right, just checking.
That's a good idea, though. I think
it was a good idea. Yeah.
And they had like a little briefing, and they run you through. Here's your controls.
I mean, first of all, they had the Disneyland booth, right?
Yes, it's like an attraction, like amusement park. That was the whole theme from the very get go.
Okay, yeah. Well, you could see like 6 people playing blue, 6 people playing red, and
there was a guy with a cowboy hat who was like officiating.
Right. Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah, he was there. Good. He was there. And so they'd run you through the controls. They'd actually quiz you halfway through, kind of like a drill sergeant. You had to stand up, repeat back to her these it was kind of strangely erotic. Like these Japanese like TGS goer nerds were like strangely turned on.
It must have been really confusing for Gaijin who didn't know any Japanese at all. That's all I can think.
Yeah,
that was a big issue apparently at the very first few hours of TGS on the first day of business day. That everybody in the audience, not only playing Metal Gear Online but playing Metal Gear 4, had no idea what these guys were saying. So like there's a lot of audience participation and there was just blank stares.
Right,
and that was apparently a big problem.
It wouldn't work too well when she called on you to say like, so how do you link up SOP with your
the Sons of Patriots system?
Right. Yeah. Yes. So anyway, so then you get to play it, and I want to strangle one specific person at Kojima Productions.
Me too.
And this is the person who made it so that when you change your controls, when you invert your up-down look, it works normally. But when you go into non-auto aim mode, you hit the square button and you go into sort of the Gears of War Resident Evil 4 view.
Yeah, you should be able to change that too.
No, it's not. It goes back to it. And I was going to throw up. I was so disoriented every time I changed back and forth. Obviously, it's going to be. I'm sure it'll be fixed for the final game.
There's 3 different parameters, like where you can change the camera to invert it.
There's up down. There's left right, and then there was something else that was not that.
If you tab over, there are more screens.
Yeah, I mean, there's different, like if it's over the shoulder, if you're just doing the regular game, if you're in first person view, you can change and you invert the left and right, like the horizontal and like the X and Y axis on all 3 of those parameters.
Oh no.
You just have to input the code. It's down, left, left.
Up, down, left, right.
Yeah, so like I had a different problem. I had accidentally inverted my left and rights as well, so it took me a while to like fix all that.
But the good news is that that's in the game, and this is a big accomplishment. You can also change the speed of the camera and your aiming. So this is big. This is good for a Japanese game. That's
maybe
big.
You could answer my question. Like even when I finally got my cameras fixed, I still felt like for some reason the camera wasn't as good as an MGS4, and I can't exactly.
You know what I think it? I think it is. I think it's the camera speed and the frame. There was a little. It seemed like there was like a little lag or jumping frames, and I think you have to slow it down because I had the same thing, and it was very touchy. It was super touchy.
It was hard for me to exactly explain what was happening, but something was amiss compared to my experience playing MGS4.
All right, so let me ask you a bigger question. How do you feel about having to buy a separate game to play online?
You don't.
Well, that's TBD, right?
Well, no,
when you get the starter kit,
you get a starter
MGS4.
pack, right?
So what does that? What does that mean?
I don't know how you're interpreting starter pack. I'm interpreting starter pack to mean that I'm going to get influenced to buy the rest of it after that.
Well, these were separate projects.
These were separate projects, separate teams, separate budgets. And the original plan was to have Metal Gear Online come out long before MGS4. And we've thought of this from seriously 2 years ago. That the original plan was to make MGO its own series, and it's not going to be dependent on the story mode of Metal Gear. Because the problem we run into is if we have a new Metal Gear, like Metal Gear Solid, it's going to come out every 3 years. That means you can't have it online in between that span. So it's going to have its own franchise. Let's say Metal Gear Online 2 is coming out in a year and a half or 2 years from now or something. We were open to do that. So the idea was 2 different SKUs coming out, maybe like Metal Gear Online in time for Christmas, and then MGS4 sometime early next year. That was the original plan, but with delays, like all of a sudden it came out that both games are going to be mastering around the same time. So we've got this problem. It's going to perceive that we're double dipping because we're going to be if we ship 2 $60 games at the same time on the same day.
Because you are.
Because we're not.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, come on. Let's stack this up to your competitor's biggest game, Halo 3. Arguably the most popular online game.
Is the platform holder Microsoft their biggest competitor?
What
is a platform holder Konami's biggest competitor?
Well, right.
It is when you're bringing out Metal Gear Solid as a PS3 game. Yes.
See,
no, I don't think that's a fair comparison.
And so we've been looking at these two games as completely separate products from the beginning because we have faith in online. Because what we've been looking at,
I think the competitor is Splinter Cell 5. That's a fair competitor. It's an exclusive third-party stealth action game.
Is the defining
you know what?
game for
It
PS3
is a
right
weird.
now.
It is definitely a weird area because it's undefined. Like you get a Metroid Prime, it has single player, it doesn't have multiplayer. You get a Halo, and it has single player and multiplayer and other shit. You get Call of Duty 4, it has single player and has multiplayer. I think it has to do with expectation.
And even
are you getting enough?
Call of Duty, as much as I like that series, can't hold up as well in this argument as Halo 3 does. I mean, Halo, there are going to be tons and tons of people who buy Halo 3 for the online experience because it is an awesome online experience and will say, I would buy this just for the online experience.
Right.
So look at it this way. We have these two different games that we have completely faith that we could sell as two separate products. And so we see that the games are going to be coming out at the same time. We're going to include a taste of it, of Metal Gear Online, what we're calling a starter pack. Can't go into how much content it is because we haven't decided yet. But we had that plan from the very beginning. So what you're looking at is that basically basically within Kojima Productions, it's kind of confusing because we're using the same engine. It looks very similar, right? The graphics engine and the sound. But
the controls are intentionally the same.
Exactly.
Right?
We've been tweaking them and going back and forth between the two teams, but these are separate teams. And the way we're looking at it is that the consumer is actually getting a pretty big bargain because we had no intention of including online in that $60 MGS4 pack to begin with. And we look at it as not like when you look at Halo, and Halo's a hard example because it's such a really
how
good.
How is that a hard example? It has a great, well-respected single player game, and it has
a different genre.
Yeah, but
it's a different genre.
Yes, I mean that genre like thrives off of the multiplayer aspect.
Yeah, and it really is based on that single player experience. That what do they call it? That 10 seconds or that 5 seconds of really good action that you repeat over and over again. That's the Halo multiplayer. It's very fast paced. It's racking up that kill count.
The Halo multiplayer,
but Metal Gear Online,
it's about the matching making. We've sat around and mentioned many times that no one has duplicated as good a community and
there's no question. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Halo Online. It's awesome. But
so
what I'm saying here is that we're looking at these as two separate games where Metal Gear Solid 4 gameplay and Metal Gear Online gameplay is completely different.
But Bungie isn't looking at it that way.
Well,
and many other.
But I would say that the gameplay of Halo 3 is much similar. The single player and the multiplayer is based on the same game mechanics, where online isn't, and Metal Gear Online isn't.
Really?
Yeah.
But it is. You're doing the same thing. You have magazines. You have the same controls.
It's team based. We're not copying and pasting any maps. Like we have a different like map team that they're making maps like based on
Halo 3 has specific maps for
like Halo 3 is because Halo 3 is tough. And
Halo 3 is tough because they are over delivering.
They are doing an awesome job, and that's putting our backs against the wall because look at it this way: we had two projects that we're looking that they're going to sell, a couple million copies a piece, put together, and all of a sudden they're coming out around the same time. Halo is really over delivering. We have to include online into MGS4.
It should be considered that a new Metal Gear Solid single player game, the first time you've played it, has never shipped with a multiplayer component ever.
Yeah, and to me that's a big thing because Metal Gear has always been about the single player thing. To me, I see.
So what you're saying is when Bungie brought out Halo 2, they should have made multiplayer a separate game and sold and charged for that.
Why do we have to compare this everything with Bungie though?
Why to me,
I'm a consumer. I'm looking at spending $120 to play potentially. Obviously, pricing hasn't been announced, but I'm looking at potentially having to spend $120.
We already know that you can play Metal Gear Online in some form for free with Metal Gear Solid.
I am playing lots of demos for free.
But to me this that's what it is though. I mean, to me this is like what was it? Zoe 2 or Zoe had the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo. Like Zoe 1 had the Metal. To me, this is like a single game coming with a demo of another game. It's not
like that when it takes place in the same universe and it's online. Look, it's not cut and dry either way. I'm not going to say BioShock, you're not getting a multiplayer game with it. Metroid Prime, you're not getting a multiplayer game with it.
True.
I think it is getting in a weird area in Metal Gear universe when you are starting to create an online game because people do get stuff like Halo that where the single player game is a robust full single player game, the multiplayer game is a robust online multiplayer game, and they're even throwing in other shit that goddamn they're making it hard for everyone else out there.
If Halo didn't have the multiplayer aspect and it was just a single player game, would it be still as big to you as it is?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Really? Halo 1
See,
was.
to me it would.
Halo 2 would not have been. Absolutely. Halo 1, for all intents and purposes, I mean, I loved the multiplayer game, but I would do that game as a 10 in the single player game alone. Halo 2, what it did really was the online multiplayer game.
Multiplayer. Yeah,
but
focused.
like you're getting both of those things, and it is a question now that everyone's raising with certain genres, and when it becomes a gray area. I'm not saying it's clear cut on either side of it, but it almost begs the issue when you include, on its face, it seems like this good thing. Oh, you include this demo of your online game. It does kind of beg the issue when you start to do that, and the controls are similar, and it is in the same universe. It's like, well, wait a second. Is this just the
message.
online version
it could be
of the
a
game
slippery
that I'm
slope.
paying
Like coming
for
from my
later?
gamer perspective, if all of a sudden publishers started breaking up the single player and the multiplayer, I think people are going to feel ripped off. Like for Call of Duty, for example, or if they had maybe this isn't a great example, but The Darkness, for example, they put probably a lot of time into multiplayer. Nobody played it, and people would feel ripped off if they sold that as two separate products. Whereas and we're running into an issue where we think that Metal Gear can stand alone as a separate product, and you're not going to on launch day, you're not going to spend $120 to get both experiences. That's for sure. And we have to tweak the pricing. That's why we couldn't announce the release date at TGS, because Halo 3 is over delivering, and we're gonna over deliver too. And it's gonna be up to. I'm not worried about the review scores. I'm not worried about this backlash, because we're gonna include enough online into the MGS4 package,
right?
And people are gonna dig it. And I think this is
so
the start of something good.
What it comes down to is like perceived value. Like nobody cares that BioShock did not have a multiplayer game. Nobody cares that Metroid Prime 3 didn't have a multiplayer game, because you feel like you got a full product and it was worth the money that.
That's why we're kind of like slapping our foreheads, going, you know how much money we're spending in just the single player aspect of MGS4, and now we have to throw in a part of a huge chunk of our online game, which we've been throwing a ton of money in as a standalone product.
Right.
That's the. I mean, if you guys are in the same situation, you guys would be slapping your foreheads too.
You've opened the door, though.
Well, I think you could have easily just sold it as Metal Gear Solid 4, and that's it. The single player game.
Honestly, but it is timing, like you're talking about. Like timing has a lot to do with it, and when you start to blur the lines between those two products, it starts to become like, well, wait, if this is coming out a month later, why aren't we?
Let me give you a hypothetical. I mean, this is what could have happened. Let's say that Metal Gear Online shipped in October 2007,
right?
And then
nobody would have a problem.
And MGS4 shipped in February or March 2008. And let's say MGO sold at $40 and MGS4 sold at $60. That's $100 for both these games. Would there have been a problem? I'm guessing not.
No, I there wouldn't have been, but that is a real thing. Like,
exactly. So that's why we have to change the plans.
I think it raises the question of how will the rest of MGO be delivered? Is it on a Blu-ray disc? Is it through incremental downloads on PSN? I think that's a question.
It should be on PSN. I think. I mean, I would rather get it on if it is just an online experience. I don't want a disc. I'd rather be able to download it and just play it. I mean, obviously, you're going to need to be able to download it if you're going to play online anyway. So you have the ability to do so. So why wouldn't?
And Warhawk and GT5 Prologue have shown us that
Well, there's also.
I think it should come after. I'm sorry. I think it should come after Metal Gear Solid 4 also, because I mean, people maybe a month or two later, people are who have finished that game and want more Metal Gear. Now they can go online and play MGO. And I assuming the game is not a disaster, and we pretty much all know it's not going to be a disaster, I think we would all want to play it online.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Two things. First of all, $40 for a multiplayer online game is still too much money. And like we had this argument over Warhawk, none of us were happy with the pricing over Warhawk. Are we going to say that just because it's Metal Gear, we're suddenly going to be happy
I
with
think
it?
we were overall.
Now we're happy because
I think we
Metal
split
Gear.
a few hairs over the pricing, but it got really good scores in our magazine, and I think most people think it's a good game.
Scores in the magazine, which we intentionally, other than some talk about.
You're saying we were unhappy with this game's pricing and gave it 8s, and we're saying it's not worth the money.
Were you happy? Wait, you say you're happy with the pricing now?
I am happy with the price. I wasn't on the review, but I'm happy with the pricing for Warhawk.
For Warhawk, really?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was $10. I think the sweet spot was $30.
I think the sweet spot was fully $30. I'm totally shocked that you said.
Why are you saying Metal Gear is going to be $40 though? I mean, when nothing.
Because that was the example they just gave. That was 140 and 160. And the second part is, only games like Halo 3, which isn't, or Metal Gear Solid, which hasn't been determined, can even consider something like this. Other games need to add all that value into the package in order to get people attracted to buy them.
Metal Gear doesn't need that. Like Metal Gear Solid 4 doesn't need that.
So because it's a great game, we're going to let them dig into our pockets deeper. I'm trying to speak out for the consumer about there. Look, gaming is already expensive enough. It is a tough hobby to have. Are we going to let the very, very best titles just take us for whatever amount of money we have in our wallet?
I don't know. I think like what Mark said was it's value added, and the consumer spoke with 1.5 million copies of BioShock shipped. That's
you gave that game a 10. You don't even want multiplayer.
No, I don't really want multiplayer in that game. It's not a multiplayer game.
So why don't we let's go back to talking to the actual gameplay of Metal Gear Online. Like, I had a good time with it. Like, I think it benefits a lot from the control improvements that Metal Gear Solid 4 brings, especially compared to the god awful abortion that has been Metal Gear
Subsistence.
That has been Metal Gear Online up until now. Some of the things though that I do think would really benefit from a little more looking at other games. Am I right in assuming that there's no voice chat right now? That it's all through menus like the old Metal Gear?
It'll be a voice chat supported if you want
we'll
to.
have voice chat supported.
Yeah.
So
that's big because we were all concerned.
Yeah,
about
it had those little voice quips.
And you know why is because the Japanese hate getting on that voice that headset.
And that's why I was worried that it wouldn't have that at all. But it will have that. And then if you want to just go through the menus while you're getting shot and say go go go, you can do that.
If you feel so inclined,
right? So then the only other thing I will say, in addition to clans and stuff like that, I think Metal Gear has a huge opportunity right now to take SOCOM away from SOCOM. Metal Gear has a huge chance to become SOCOM.
And we feel like really good about TGS, like the response. We feel very confident about this game because it's not over when we ship MGS4 with that starter pack in it. That's just the beginning because we're moving around resources. Once MGS4 development's over, guys are going to move over to the online team, and this is going to continue. So it's not going to die off after a few months when you get bored, like what might happen with Warhawk, unfortunately, because it looks like what Incognito. I don't know what's happening with that.
Might be closed.
Exactly.
Right.
So this is just the beginning.
Well, so just to get into the details, something that has been like a Achilles heel as far as I'm concerned with Metal Gear and multiplayer has been like the whole sniper game, the long range game, as opposed to the short range or mid range game, and it's still kind of screwed up in the current build, I think, of Metal Gear Online, and it's that I think it's bowing a little too much to realism. When you have a sniper rifle, it's like a single shot sniper rifle. When you fire, you lose your aim, you're up, and then you sit there reloading. You're already like a sitting duck when you have the sniper rifle equipped, and
So you're having a hard time going at from long range and attacking rather than.
Yeah, the sniper rifle seems like really like kind of nerfed, and so it didn't seem like people would be that encouraged.
If you have the sniper skill, does that change that?
Yeah, you get better accuracy.
But you don't get like 2 shots.
But there's a number of skills. Like there's only a limited number of skills that we included in this TGS demo because we don't want to confuse people.
Right.
But that's the thing I'm most excited about this title, and it's gonna we really leaving the door open for literally dozens of skills to add to the game once it's launched, and this is basically my dream is of adding almost like a Phantom Dust level to this game.
Oh boy,
you and your
Phantom Dust.
Back to Phantom Dust.
Somewhere Che Chow is creaming his jeans.
Where it really is up to like that killer combination that you're trying to get. Where if the game is balanced, which it will be, just like Phantom Dust was, where everybody's got their own combination of skills that they have a number of points that they can add to different skills, and so some guy's going to be totally into the shotgun skills and hacking and all that good stuff. So everybody's gonna have their own different play style. So that's like the best. That's one of the good things that we have going for MGO. And the second thing is that normally when you get like an online experience of a single player game, it's usually about deathmatch and team deathmatch and racking up the kill count, and that's what it usually comes down to.
Right.
And when we sat down and designed MGO, it was about so people are gonna have Halo, they're gonna have Call of Duty, they're gonna have SOCOM. What can we offer that's going to be something different? And that's our team and our Japanese team's love of teamwork.
Right.
And that's just like survival games and airsoft and all that good stuff. So that's really what it comes down with MGO. It's the Sons of the Patriot system, the SOP system. We're linking,
which is brilliant. Like being able to see, it seems like taking the Halo 2, Halo 3 system of being able to see your teammates by their call signs around where they're on the map to the next level, where you can actually see what they're doing, and also the beams, the signal that comes in on the end of the beam says, okay, they've died, or okay, they're asleep,
or like you
okay,
can go
they're
over and like
trouble.
shake them awake and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Or do you shake them awake, or you do a little ass to ass pat?
Right,
Yeah.
right. But it's still very Metal Gear. But it's all gonna come down to that balance. It's possible to tell from our.
It's weird. I'm afraid I come across as like really arrogant with this title, because I feel like you guys are obviously bringing about some really good criticisms, and we're still gonna be tweaking the game. But like, I know the grand scheme of the title, and this is just just a hint. And I know that you guys are gonna really dig it.
I was a little disappointed when I saw what level we got to play on, because in the trailer there's all these really cool levels like this.
So there was actually 2 levels at TGS.
I only got to play one.
Yeah, there was the the one. We have Grozny Grad from MGS3.
That's what I got to play.
And there was another one with more like a lot of sand traps and stuff.
See the one in the trailer. There's like this cool sewer level. There's like this really expanded
level
rooftop
looks
yeah, those 2 were not included in the TGS build, but those look great. I mean, they look great and they're fun.
Looks like you can't kind of even tell where the level ends. It just looks like you're in this huge.
It's
city.
really impressive, and like we got some stuff that MGS fans are going to freak out. Like they can't believe they're going to be able to play multiplayer in these different arenas.
Like classic.
Some classic.
Can you talk
stuff.
all about
Nice.
like in the trailer? You see Snake, and he has all these abilities that nobody else has. He has the Metal Gear Mark II. He has all this shit. Like that seems so unbalanced. Can you not talk
Absolutely. I mean, of course, that would be unbalanced if you got your Joe Smo soldier, and then all of a sudden some dude can log on with Solid Snake.
I think at one point you told me in the past that like there's gonna be some sort of awesome ranking system where if you're really really good, you'll get a special character. Is that evidence of that?
There's a ranking system and like a level up system for everybody's character. Like the more experience, it's almost like COD what they're doing. They have like a level up. And that unlocks different modes in the game, but this actually allows you to go to different rooms and compete against better people.
There's not like a leader system
like
to it, is there? The leader of a team can be somebody
like
different, a custom character or something like that.
Let me stay away from the unique characters.
Okay.
All right.
So that's the reason for the trailer we put at the very end is kind of a hint of what's to come.
But and so we talked about this before, but you're not worried at all about the haves versus the have-nots in terms of online playing. I know we talk about this a lot on the podcast, but like the people who play all the time every day being level 100 and you being, level awesome and you being level bullshit, like you're not at all.
No, I'm worried. Absolutely. Because I swear with every single interview that you read about multiplayer games being developed with developers, like, of course we got this brand new ranking system, and if you're not very good, you're gonna be with like noobs, and like the good players only be playing against other good players. But I know when I log on to Halo 2, I'm getting my ass kicked all the time.
Right.
And it's in Call of Duty 4 does the same thing. I mean, I know it's in beta.
That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
And I can't guarantee it or not, but that's the one thing that irks me about online games is that you have to dedicate your life to being really good and have a good time and be able to compete. And I don't want that for MGO. And hopefully I'm gonna have enough time.
I wish I had a chance to play it, because here's my complaint in general about Metal Gear Solid, which is, I have very mixed emotions about Metal Gear Solid, because conceptually and story-wise, of course, obviously that's completely my cup of tea. But my problem with Metal Gear Solid is every time I sit down to play the game, I feel like an idiot, and I feel like I'm playing the game wrong.
Well, I think 4 alleviates a lot of those problems by refining and streamlining the control.
But you know what I mean? I mean, then that's really, especially as a gamer,
it's absolutely. I mean, that's the way
I feel stupid.
Absolutely, I know exactly what you feel, and that's how I start off with Snake Eater, which ended up being one of my favorite games of all time. Is that it's that initial 2 hours or 3 hours you have to invest in the game in order to enjoy the next brilliant 7 hours.
Right. The learning curve was pretty intense.
I mean, there's no question going up and climbing a tree to find your backpack, and then dropping into like a sand trap and then dying or getting eaten by an alligator. That's not a good way to start off the game. And so definitely when you start off MGS4, you're in the middle of a battlefield and it's gonna be intense.
All right.
And you're gonna be able to control it well.
You guys thought it was intense. You got to play it, Shane, right?
I mean, we all got to play it. I mean, I played it for an hour.
MGS4.
MGS4.
Yeah.
And
are you jealous?
Oh, I played it too. I finished the demo.
Yeah, I had John come in and
Yeah,
I'm the one who hasn't.
But I do feel sorry, as I said, for people on the show floor.
I mean, for you guys.
If you have time tomorrow, morning, I'll let you come in and play.
Oh yeah, people who have only 15
people
minutes.
People who only have 15 minutes cannot
totally
begin to understand why your game is so as great as it is.
All right, so give us the explanation then.
You can read my preview on One Up. It's like 2,000.
Well, that's not fair to the people who are listening to this.
Come on, dude. I mean, what do you?
They got the internet, obviously. They downloaded this thing somehow.
I mean, there's also a One Up show where we talk about it.
We've already
I'm a broken record here.
Yeah, we've already kind of touched on this, but I mean, would you guys agree that the most important, one of the most important things that's improved this time is that the controls are actually less frustrating in the beginning?
I think ultimately the biggest difference in this game is that for the first time ever in Metal Gear Solid, it is fun to run around while shooting and aiming at enemies.
Right.
And it's never, ever, ever, ever happened in Metal Gear Solid.
It's always been before you kind of had to keep moving in order to be shooting people, and so you were kind of like run around in a little like infinity pattern just to like get the auto aim. Like there was so many weird things about it.
Yeah, turn auto aim off, aim. It's
definitely
it's
turn auto aim on. And actually, I want to bring this up. This is kind of a question.
Ryan O'Donnell really wants us to
Ryan brought this up, which is actually a really good thing. Why have the square button be toggle auto aim on or off? Is it something you're going to want to do back and forth a lot? Like that seems to me that
he said that's valuable real estate on the controller that you're using for seemingly
why
useless
not just
function.
like set it to
right.
either on or off?
It's totally right.
Period.
That's one of your 4 buttons.
Because you're not going to want to. And it's actually the way I play Subsistence, which is the first time we introduced this 3D camera. And granted, those stage was built on that bird's eye view camera, and it's that classic south to north level design.
Right.
But with MGS4, as with Subsistence, if you're in a kind of a cramped space, sometimes I will flick on to auto aim, and so I can get into I can trigger and lock on to soldiers when you're in a cramped space, and you can't always rotate the camera around in a three dimension.
You don't think like up on the D-pad would be a better place for that or something?
Up on the D-pad?
I don't know. Some button that's less important than square.
I find myself flicking going back and forth between it, and I thought the same thing. Like I was like, let's throw this on like the select button so nobody's gonna use it anyway. Yeah. But as we go through the game, and not only like this section that you played, but there's a lot of actually customizable options in that option menu. There's 3 tabs full of things you can customize, which is really big for Metal Gear, and something I'm very proud of.
You can adjust sensitivity and stuff. That's a big.
That's a big victory for America, there, guys. So. So worked hard on that.
Adjustable sensitivity, victory for America.
No,
the controls in general are like a victory for America because having the kind of over the shoulder view is very much like
having context sensitive things that simplify motions that used to take 4 button presses to
exactly.
one.
I mean, there's always this issue. You go up to a wall and you want to knock on the wall. It's circle, right? And then you go up to the ladder and then it's triangle, right? It's like you had to keep remembering what.
Even the old circle and X button thing that was always weird. They only let Metal Gear Solid get away with that in America. They would keep it the same.
Right. So you're gonna be able to select as you should. You should be going through the menus and select things with the X button and exit out with the circle button, which should have happened a long time ago. As you should have.
And the way you guys changed from standing to crouching to laying down thing is big too, because I always even when I was experienced with the controls in the previous games, I always end when a firefight broke out, I'd end up laying down or something.
Everyone does.
Now you can hold the button down and go straight to the ground, or you can move while you're
when
crouching.
you're on the ground, you can shoot and move.
Yeah,
and be effective.
It's much more.
I was kind of reluctant to talk about that because it's kind of hard to describe over a podcast, but yeah, that is a big deal too. I mean, if you're in that crouch position before, if you move forward, you would go down to that laying down position. But now, if you're in that crouch position and you move, you're in. It's like you're kind of hunching down.
An effective crouch walk. I was using it a lot in MGO today.
And we actually built the stages around that height. So like the garbage bins and different barriers and in the height of the cars.
The garbage bin makes me bring up something. So it seems as if any of the 6-axis functionality we kind of expected to be a part of the regular gameplay has more or less been taken out of MGS.
Absolutely, as it should, right, Garnett?
6-axis in an online game?
No.
In MGS4,
as part of gameplay, as part of 8 out of 10, you need to perform this action 8 out of 10 times. It's just not good enough, right? I mean, isn't that what you guys decided for a couple weeks ago
for Lair?
I know what he's getting at. I mean, it's a rhetorical question, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on, 8 out of 10 times.
Wait, what are you saying has been taken out though? What do you mean?
Well, a year ago when Otakon showed Snake Metal Gear Mark II.
Otacon.
Yeah, I was gonna say Otacon.
It's late. I'm drunk.
No, but and that's the way that the Japanese pronounce it anyway.
O is O here.
Yeah, so continue.
Anyway, he was driving it with the 6-axis. Oh, and now not so much.
Or
But
wasn't it?
use the 6-axis sometimes though, right? Like we saw one part in the demo today.
You rise out of a garbage bin.
There's two functions for the 6-axis controls in the demo. You also shake the D-pad or the controller if you want to go back to the default octo camo. But in the game, as you can expect, we're going to have other 6-axis functionality.
Like instances where it's used.
Absolutely.
But you didn't decide to like force it on.
Not into the barrel roll. It just doesn't make sense.
Okay, as long as you brought up the 8 out of 10 thing, let me ask you a question. Have you heard anything from the development side of your house? Is it a failing of the controller, a failing of the software that interacts with the controller? What's the 8 out of 10 thing?
I think it actually it's not just the PlayStation 3. It's maybe motion control in general.
Right.
Like we wish it was more precise.
Because it's so dependent on how you as the player.
And I'm not saying, and I'm not trying to confirm like a Wii title here or whatever, but I mean, it's like, when you play Wii too, and you hear from other developers talk about like when we hang out with Suda, it's like it's a struggle because you want to do so many cool things with that controller, but it's just not precise enough. And
MGS 0 for Wii.
It's been a big turnoff for the Wii for me. That motion control it's not as. I like my controls to be really precise, and motion controls are not really precise.
Dragon Quest Swords says
hello. Terrible.
I
mean, okay, it's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
It is
at
a very
all.
good game. It's a great concept.
Didn't you guys both tell me how awesome that game was?
Not me, no. Actually, I'm sorry. It is not terrible. I didn't. That just came out wrong. But I mean, it is very frustrating because I want to do one thing and I do something else like, over and over and
absolutely.
over again.
And it's a game built around very precise controlling combos that doesn't end up giving it to you. Yeah,
maybe they'll fix that for the US version. I don't know if they can improve it somehow. But I don't know if it seems to be a struggle with a lot of developers.
Yeah, I don't know if it's struggling against a limitation of how precise the Wii control exactly can be.
And I could say it was a big relief for me. Yesterday was the first day that anybody outside the studio really had a chance to play the game with the new controls. And I talked to Mark beforehand. He said like this is the most anticipated game I want to play at TGS, and you guys walked away saying that the controls are good. I consider it mission accomplished. But you guys are talking about that's a really good thing about the demo. For me, I think as a gamer, as a fan of Metal Gear, and as a producer on this title, it's the controls. And then the second thing I'm most excited about is the way that we're actually changing the gameplay of MGS, where it's not always sneaking. We have these battlefields, and this is the thing about MGS2 and MGS1 and MGS3 is that we give you all these toys. We give you the rocket launcher, we give you the machine guns, we give you the sniper rifles. But anytime you use them, it creates such a racket that all the soldiers just condense on you, and then it's game over. So what we do in Metal Gear Solid,
That's me right there.
And here we address your complaints is that there is still the sneaking section. That's the beginning of the TGS demo. You play it for about 15-20 minutes, and then there's that Otacon demo scene.
Unless you're at the TGS floor, and then you're asked to leave.
Exactly, unfortunately. And then you go into the battlefield where there's militiamen and PMCs just going at it. And if you pull out the rocket launcher, if you pull out a sniper rifle, and you make a huge racket, nobody's going to care because they're in the middle of a war.
I have to say, it took me like a little adjustment, and I talk about this on the segment on the One Up show that came out today. But like. From the very start, you hear gunshots going off and you have explosions going off. And in Metal Gear, I'm very used to like still quiet. Like if I'm not being seen, then nothing is happening. And as it was going on, I'm like, oh shit, okay, somebody's seen me, somebody's shooting at me. What's going on? But no, it hadn't actually happened.
The cool thing is when that happens, I know it's right after the striker. There's a couple bullets that barely miss you, it seems like. And what we have is a real-time codec where Otacon comes in and says, Snake, just to remind you, this is not all about you this time. Like there's actually war going on, and just because you're hearing gunshots, you're hearing explosions, it doesn't mean that they're aiming at you in particular. So this is what we're getting at.
Large-scale battle.
It's sneaking, then it's battlefields, and then this is how Hideo likes to design his games. Is that they're in like waves. It's like waveform. It's like it's quiet, and then you go epic, and then you go down to quiet again. You go up to epic.
The monkey in the diaper fit in.
The monkey in the diaper.
Is that at the top of the wave or at the bottom? Or
it's that 4D thing. It's like it's hard to put on that waveform. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But So the little gray bad reception. I thought.
Yes.
We got you right.
Bad
We got you
reception.
right here. So that screenshot, we got the screenshot of Drebin and who else? Is it Drebin and Snake who are holding Little Gray?
Naomi and Snake.
Yeah, it's Naomi.
That is a visual match of this picture of these two scientists holding what was believed to be an alien.
Also known as Gray at that time.
Yeah, Little Gray. Can you?
That was just too much of a coincidence.
Really? That's Snake's alien love child.
Start your pens. Start your pens.
I mean, Drebin, what did you guys think? I mean, we introduced him.
Cisco.
Oh, come on.
Popular
Zach from Dead or Alive.
Come on. Like
2000.
Maybe I'm asking for it.
Thong.
Like, I'm really excited about this character. He's got a lot of personality. Maybe it doesn't show through with the trailer, but you're going to be submitting like locked ID guns to him, and then he's going to be unlocking them for a price.
I like that.
You see his costume change with the little neon thing that comes off the top of his head.
Oh, come on.
I like the idea of a weapon launderer that he's actually like. I mean, it's so topical, it's ridiculous. Especially what's happening with Blackwater like this week. Very forward thinking with the whole private military contractors. But yeah, the character is cool. That stuff is cool. I think though, like, to be honest, and I say this as somebody who knows Metal Gear, knows where it comes from, but like a lot of people would just end up with monkey in a diaper. And like, why is there a monkey in a diaper burping? That game's now not for me.
But here's the thing: if there wasn't something like a monkey in a diaper or a dude like taking a crap in a barrel, let's face it, it wouldn't be Metal Gear. And when you first see it on a plot scenario, and you're like, you're like, hey, Hideo, come on, what is this? And then, but you realize if you strip it away, you're going closer and closer to what would be kind of like a vanilla.
But that raises flags with me because, and I've had this argument with Shane many times, a lot of people said, well, if it's not that perspective, then it's not Metal Gear. If it's not this, it's not Metal Gear. If it's not that. To me, if it's like a cool stealth action game, it's Metal Gear, and it doesn't. It has to have a very in-depth story, but it doesn't.
That's the tip of way too big an argument to start.
Yeah, because then you're leading into Splinter Cell, right? Is that basically what he's talking about?
No, that's not what I don't. That is like the most dumbed down argument of all, is that it has to either be monkeys in diapers or it has to be a guy whose name I don't even know because it's so fucking stupid Tom Clancy bullshit. It's like, hello, is there not any middle ground in there? Like,
there is, and that's Portable Ops, really. I mean, that we didn't put in these weird, funky monkeys in diapers and in Siskiyou or whatever you want to say. And in the response to that game was good, but some people did write in fans, and maybe these are the most hardcore, but they did kind of miss that quirky humor that we didn't have that time to put into Portable Ops.
Right, I have one final question for you about Metal Gear Solid 4. In the trailer, we see Snake in Metal Gear Rex fighting Liquid in Metal Gear Ray. Please tell me that isn't the last battle. Please.
Seriously.
Please, that can't be the final battle.
Do you think I can answer that question?
Oh, if it is...
Well, no, let me ask you this. If it is...
a spoiler, maybe you can just say that. Like, that's not going to... That doesn't ruin the game now that we know that, does it?
That we know that happens? Like...
No, dude, the monkey in the diaper gets Liquid's arm. And
if it was my decision, I would never have shown that.
It's tough because it is the most exciting part of that trailer, and at the same time,
I got to tell you that got me really excited.
Yeah, I mean, it got everybody really excited. I mean,
exactly. I got to tell you, the way he delivered that line pretty much answered your question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. Why would they put the end battle in the trailer? I mean, come on.
I'm not answering.
I guess different people make different decisions about what might be.
This is supposedly the end of the saga, and you know how
Japanese
like sagas. There's going to be some like Armageddon at the end, and Snake's mother's going to come back.
I hope.
And this isn't like how I lied to Mark McDonald about No More Heroes being an EA title. This is the truth. This is the final chapter of Solid Snake's story.
It's not the last Metal Gear Solid, but it's the last Solid Snake.
Absolutely.
All right, there
Solid
you go.
Snake dying at the end, confirmed.
That's the final chapter of the TGS one up here.
I think we gotta go catch the last train. So
yeah, you gotta catch the last
20 minutes
train
to run to the station now.
So. And there's monkeys and diapers, and who can beat that as a way to run?
And there's lots of chicks checking out Shane, by the way.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, you didn't point him out.
Too bad it's all wasted on him.
Hey,
I love me some Japanese.
I wouldn't say it's wasted. I mean, I thought Japan's kind of a godless country, but apparently Man God has a lot of weight.
Man God is risen.
Next time point him out. But but thanks for coming on the show, guys. You made it special. One to remember, an epic one. The kids are gonna be like, "This is so long. Why did I download it?"
Well, there you go. So
thanks for having us.
For Shane, John Riccardi, and Ryan, of course, who just laid it all out there for us. Mark McDonald and Garnet Lee, thanks for listening to us. Catch us at boards.oneup.com. Until next week, we're Ghosts.
This One Up podcast is brought to you by Ubisoft's Jam Sessions. Transform your DS into a portable guitar and become an instant rock star. Strum the guitar via the touchscreen and select the chords with the control pad. You can create and save your own music or learn how to play with advanced tutorials. Jam Sessions is a must-have for music lovers and DS owners. Available now.